Buddy Snowbringer, a burnt-out Christmas elf, but holiday cheer department. You can buy me in very similar elfish gear, kind of like bright green jacket, red and white striped tights that are pinching a little bit too much, but also kind of grayed out from their age as well. It's a little badge on the front of a jacket blazer, which is a yellow smiley face wearing a Christmas hat. Well, but you also go look for kind of like late middle age, or whatever fuck that is for a Christmas elf. 5 o'clock shadow, triple bags under the eyes.
It means you're 12.
Tights that are pinching a little bit too much. This is the face.
They burn out. They burn out quickly, as far as I know.
A little badge on
It's part of that, you know, the stealthy. I guess it must be like stealth ops for Santa kind of deal.
Yep.
Just stumbling around.
natural
The most,
What's up?
The most stealthy.
What counters?
I've got sunglasses and a bandana. What else do I need to be
That's
stealthy?
fair.
That stuff needs to be gone through, and we need to get rid of the stuff that's stale or expired. I can do it later. Thanks. All right. Sorry. We had a kitchen chore question.
Reasonable question.
Needed immediately. Yeah, I mean, especially since he got the answer, I can do it later, which means it was all he cared about. Like, he didn't have to deal with it. So,
Hey, listen. Just finding out that it's not your responsibility is important. Is an important series of questions.
everything. Okay, so I know we're in the middle of explanation. So we've got Buddy. Just give me names again. We've got a Buddy. Is that correct?
yeah, I am Buddy Snowbringer.
Okay. All right. And who is next?
Your name, or is there a?
There is a elf culture name generator. I think on the 4th page of the document.
I rolled for that one.
But you can just freestyle it if you want to.
I'm just Durr. D-U-R-H-H, Durr.
And were you an elf also, or what are you a reindeer?
I'm a polar cryptid.
You're a polar cryptid. Did you do you have a type of polar cryptid that you are?
Yes, I'm going to be a yeti with antlers.
A yeti with antlers.
I don't know if you've seen the character art that I did.
It's in the Patreon.
Yeah, in the Patreon channel.
Do you want, I can bounce it across to you, sir.
Yeah, let's do. I don't know if there's a way I can sort of just bring it up on my camera or something.
I
The
don't.
Yeti logo, yeah.
I am Plum. Just Plum.
You're plum.
Just Plum.
No, I'm not prepared enough to be able to do that. I can stream it. I'll give you a... yeah. I'm going to share my screen here. You can see him.
It's also for good stuff. If I'm gonna let the world see its goodness. I think Apollyon might be struggling. Still here? He's still here.
He's still here. Yeah.
Oh, is he okay?
Apollyon. Oh no.
Oh, now he's dead.
We've already lost one of our own. Hello, Apollyon.
Hey, sorry about that.
He's back.
As you should.
As we're back to the game here. I'm a little bit late to the game here, so I didn't get a chance to see I was working and
Everything's really complicated. I'm having a hard time hearing you though.
Yeah, bring your mic closer to your.
Yeah, I'm
is
just.
that a little better?
That is much better. I'm going to turn you up a little bit on mine.
Yeah, I'm
And also-
100%. Hang on, we're running
Yeah.
just keeping server now.
Yeah. So did you get a chance to download the rules?
No, I didn't. So somebody needs to step in.
Yeah, okay. I'll see what we can do.
No, that's fine. You can either go to ttrpg.link/Santa-Cide Squad and download them, or I think that's probably the quickest way rather than.
Did you get the link in the Discord?
I'm looking for it. It's in the Patreon channel, right?
It is, yeah.
I mean, if somebody else is up and running.
I'll DM you. There's a link.
It literally is rolling 4d6, and there's 2 stats and 1 type of dice roll. It is not a complicated RPG, even if we have to get you all the way caught up.
So just click the download now.
Yeah, you're assuming I have any idea what's happening.
Yeah.
Why are you misbehaving? That was why you're misbehaving. I wonder if I can if this file's small enough for me to send. It is. I've just sent you a direct file through Discord.
Yeah.
Lovely 3.99 megabytes. Fantastic. Discord can run
Right? I've got
the file's too
There you go.
powerful. Please, it's a Word document.
Yeah, so once you got it, you're going to see that there. You basically have to roll a d6 4 times to find out what your character's outlook, their creature type, their I can't even remember when I created the game. What's in their pockets and their department. Their department as a North Pole employee.
Oh yeah, I've got candy in my pocket as well. I mean, what's like the most depressing candy possible? Like really sour fruit, I think.
Oh, I haven't done what's in my
Haribo sours, that's all I have. That's all I can supply.
Oh, I have
Personally,
an instant
personally I love
snowman
them,
kit.
but
Instant Snowman Kit has been like the MVP item in all of the adventures we've played so far. I'm not trying to put pressure on you. I'm just letting you know.
So which one? The instant snowman?
The Instant Snowman Kit, the way that different people have used it.
Okay,
Is it
so I
Clearly,
played
you
something
clearly have never seen a properly used flask of eggnog.
You know what? Unfortunately, the Flask of Eggnog, I think, has full potential, and people have not used it as well as they could have.
It's a shame.
And so, what problems can't be overcome with a flask of eggnog?
Almost nothing. I mean, nearly everything can be
well,
overcome
is
with
it like a never-ending flask of eggnog?
You have to try to find out. I did find my bottle of bourbon that did have a horned creature on the outside.
What kind of bourbon is it?
This is horned hair. I mean, depending on who you are, but you're the one from Kentucky, so you might care. It's from Austin, Texas, so whether or not it's actually bourbon is for anyone to debate.
It's not.
And so it is bourbon-style American whiskey, though. And
Yeah, they get fancy with it. They call them like bourbon style.
yeah.
I don't know. There was what we're referencing. There was at one point a law in the books, I believe, that labeled only bourbon, only things that could be labeled bourbon had to come from Kentucky because of our limestone water or some crap like that.
Right.
But I still hold to the fact that no one can make bourbon except us, even though my favorite bourbon of the year comes from outside of Kentucky. So.
Yeah, my favorite bourbon is Woodinville Whiskey's bourbon. It's a Washington State whiskey that you can't get out of the Pacific Northwest currently. It's a relatively young company. Locally, I've been drinking a lot of Sagamore, which is a rye company, so not bourbon. That's based out of Baltimore, but it's phenomenal. So
Nice.
Okay, so I've rolled my 4d6s here.
excellent. What'd you get?
I'm not sure which table. I got 3, 4, 1, and 3.
You go ahead and assign those to the four tables at the top there. So what your outlook is going to be one of those.
What page is this?
Page 1.
I was on page 1. Okay, I was going through the whole document. All right, so a cracked. For cracked stealth on the shelf.
Got a lot of stealth on the shelf.
Instant snowman kit.
Excellent.
See, we had someone bring the instant snowman kit with us. We're prepared.
Good.
Someone was smart.
You got to have at least one instant snowman kit.
Am I the only one not drinking at the moment? I feel like that's an oddity.
So, and then if you want to roll 3 more d6, you can look on the next page. And the next page kind of serves as a character sheet. If you have it printed out or if you have the ability to do markup on your page, you can go ahead and write in what your stat numbers are. Otherwise, you just need 2 boxes. One that says 3 and has the word nice written underneath it, and one that has 3 and has the word naughty written underneath it. Those are your 2 stats. Nice controls anything kind, generous, or that might move you up the nice list. Naughty controls everything else.
And we should write 3 in both of those.
Yeah, right. 3 in both of those. So this game is a hack of a system called Honey Heist, which is about bears robbing honeycomb. And anytime you roll a dice, you're going to try to roll the number of that stat or lower. If you are successful, you will move 1 point from the other stat to the stat that you rolled on. So if you did something nice and you roll 3 or lower, you're going to move 1 point from naughty to nice. So you go to having 4 and 2 instead of 3 and 3. The real goal of this game is to avoid hitting a 6 in either column. So if you roll a 6, if you end up with 6 in the nice column, you transcend into the Christmas spirit field. You dissolve, and then you come back to Earth weeks later with no memory of what you were doing, wandering somewhere, typically through Central Park or some other central city park in a major city, completely unharmed, but unaware of what's been happening for the last couple weeks. If you get to a 6, you turn against your party, do something dastardly before you are compressed into a solid lump of coal, and Krampus rips through space-time and puts you into a sack. And so that one is a little bit worse.
Seems reasonable. By the way, Rick, just to confirm, absolutely my eggnog is spiked with bourbon and not some other nonsense.
I haven't got any dark rum with me, right? But I have got spiced rum.
Right.
That's what I'm pretty even feeling at the moment, so it's close.
So those are your stats. There are a couple other things you can do. So Honey Heist works like, and thereby by virtue Santa-Cide Squad works a lot like a heist film. So we always describe it as 1 part claymation movie, 1 part The Italian Job, and 1 part Suicide Squad. So there's a lot of flashback narration that you have an option to use, as well as the ability to do things that help spread Christmas cheer. Those 2 things are really important. If you're getting really high on one stat, or if you fail to roll by 1, so you say you needed a 3 and you rolled a 4, there are 2 moves that you can use to help shift your stats a little bit to help you avoid danger. One of those is called Checked, and during Checked, basically you narrate a flashback scene of something y'all did before the adventure to get ready, that was specifically a naughty or spy related or planning thing. So you can flashback to you putting a bomb somewhere, or you dropping a tracking device in someone's thing, or just y'all sitting around a table pointing at maps, smoking cigarettes, and drinking eggnog. Like, it doesn't, that's all fine. You just have to narrate that scene as a flashback that explains why you have a slight edge in this situation, and that's going to bump you 1 point up in your naughty, right, and 1 point down in your nice. The other one is spirited. Anytime you do something that helps grant someone's Christmas wish or help spread Christmas cheer, which the simplest way to do that is to have your character sing a song, by which I mean you, the player, have to sing a few lines of that song, and that will move 1 point from naughty over to nice, right? And that can be done either before or after a roll in order to address whether you've hit a 6 or not, whether you succeeded or not, other things like that. Go ahead.
Two quick questions. First off, singing the song made me automatically think we need to do an episode of this with Board Game Co., Puffendor, and Jan. Like, not this specifically, but just a one-shot, because I bet that would get some eyes on your channel. Second off, does he sound a little hot to you all as well?
Me?
Yeah,
a little.
your mic. Try coming a little bit away from your mic, maybe, because you sound. It was just felt like it was.
No, it's fine. I just moved a ton of stuff around in here. Like I got a new desk, so I had to take everything apart and put it all back together.
Yeah, being farther away from it cleans.
We're
that up
good.
quite a bit.
Cool.
Yeah. Does that work better for everyone else? Talk a little bit more for me.
This is me talking a little bit more for everybody.
Yeah, that's much more comfortable.
Cool. Awesome. That's also way more comfortable for me, so that's great. So those are the things to be aware of. Also, you're typically only going to roll 1d6. You're always looking to roll the number or lower. It only matters that you get a success, not how many successes that you get. Because if something applies to your job department, your outlook, or the special skill that you have because of your creature type, if you're able to use one of those things, you're going to get to roll 1 extra d6. Even if you have numerous things it connects with, you're only rolling 1 extra d6, which gives you 2 chances to roll a success. Does it make sense to everybody?
Yep.
All right. We are going to play with an optional rule that is not written down, because we are going to be doing my favorite type of heist, which is a train heist, and we'll get into that in just a second. But my friend Alexi wrote a phenomenal game called The Great Soul Train Robbery, which is about desperados robbing a train to hell. It's phenomenal. It uses very similar mechanics. They have a function called scars in that, which means if you're willing to take damage, you can add an extra D6 and roll that third D6 if you're really worried because you have very low stats in that area or whatever it might be. You can even decide to do that after the fact. You do have to tell me how your actions scar and hurt you. You can do that 3 times. On the 3rd time, it does kill you, but it will still be it still gives you that option to roll a 3rd die and kind of go out in a blaze of glory if you want to. So you can take that if you want to create 3 extra little boxes and write scars above that, you are welcome to. And if you don't want to, that's fine also.
Cool. All of mine are emotional, but they'll still end up in my
That's fine. Emotional scars are absolutely okay.
Depending on how deep they run.
That's right. All the way down, all the way down. So
Too real. Like, don't break my immersion, please.
So we are gonna. Does anybody have any questions about the mechanics before we get started? Does anybody have a question about their character creation process? I know it's super complicated.
Yeah, about this whole check thing where we could just like narrate a flashback scene.
Yeah,
How much leeway have we really got with that?
a lot.
Really? So it's like.
Well, so here's the thing. It's still going to come down to a die roll, right? Like you're still going to have to roll dice. So you can say what you did to work it out. If you roll poorly and you fail, that just means that it, like whatever your plan was still frustrated by some action of the other person.
Yeah.
The small explosive device that you put in their luggage didn't go off. The whatever it happens to be, right? That's fine, but you like the dice are still going to determine that. But this is a very narrative forward game. Obviously there's not a lot of mechanics to it. Roll 1d6, get equal to or lower than the number, avoid getting to 6 in any given stat, use the special abilities you have to navigate kind of back and forth around that. That's kind of where you're at.
Okay, and a really weird, like, kind of RP kind of sense. If one of these flashbacks involves a conversation with another character, do you have to narrate that as well, or someone else jumps in and joins in for the hell of it?
You should give a little bit of direction, but I'm fine either way. So if y'all want to talk back and forth about what specifically you do, that's 100% great. In classic kind of heist film style, we're going to even start out. We'll start out in media res and some action, and then we're going to flash back to do some character introductions. So we'll kind of set the stakes for what's happening, and then we'll flash back and let you each introduce why your character is on the outs with the big man and at risk of finding yourself on the naughty list.
It sounds like our entire department has been set off to the side a little bit.
Did everybody end up with stealth on the shelf? Is that where everybody ended up coming from?
I pick up the only one who wasn't.
What department did you end up in?
I am the holiday cheer department.
Okay,
so
excellent.
I'm like the morale officer. It's like I'm dragging you towards these things.
To come fire us and let us down, you know.
Right.
And it's kind of like listen, my job's on the line here. So I need you to pull it out.
You'll never perform, but this time you have to.
Also, how PG is this? Like, serious question.
I always play PG-13, which basically means as far as violence goes, I mean it's theater of the mind, elfy stuff. I always play like, hey, if it like whatever level of cussing whoever the host of the thing is, so that'd be up to Jesse, is comfortable with.
No, I mean, potentially, if you make this live at any point, and I don't know if you're intending on it or going to, but that would be your call as well. Right?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, I always have that call afterwards. So we always play PG-13, which means we get an F-bomb. So if you're going to use it well. And so, and then other things are pretty much fair game. So yeah, so I mean that's as far as I'm concerned. We have a hard line on all of our channel against sexual violence. I don't anticipate that being an issue. And then if anybody else has any lines they want to play with or veils they want to play with, we can talk about that. Like, if tooth damage is a solid veil for you, like it's okay if somebody gets punched in the mouth, but please don't describe how their tooth dangles out. Like, then we'll avoid that, right? If it's something else, that's fine too. Also, X card is always in place. Like if we need to stop, pause, back up because something is upsetting for somebody or distracting for somebody, we can just call X and we can do that also too. So, but yeah. Any other questions?
A single F-bomb. Jesus Christ.
Across the board. We
We don't want to pyro in front of people very often.
There's a reason for it.
No, absolutely. So if there's no other questions, we'll dive in. And if there are more questions later on, that's fine. We'll pause and talk about them.
All right. I don't know what voice I'm going to do, but I'll work it out when I get to it. Fantastic. I'm ready.
Sweet. We see the North Pole and Santa's workshop and the surrounding area in slight disarray. It's been a heck of a Christmas, and as we kind of zoom in on things, everything is in kind of disarray, in a level of disarray that is not uncommon in the few days following a successful Christmas. We see your crew pushing their way through a fairly crowded street, trying to catch the Artic Express before it pulls out of the station. But as you're getting near it, you notice that it's accelerating faster and faster and faster and starting to pull away. But you know that if you can't get onto that train, Santa's hyperspatial bag will make its way out of the North Pole and into the world in a way that you may not be able to track. And also, the big man himself is losing his eternal youth because that bag has gone misplaced and its magic helps sustain him. Let's flash back just a few days to see have you introduced your characters, and tell me a little bit about what got you on Santa's bad side, and then we'll talk about why he sent you on this mission particularly. We'll play through some of that, but give me kind of a scene introducing us a little bit to your character and specifically what put them on the naughty list this year.
And could you try to pull the mic a little bit farther away from you? Just
Fine. I can also pull it down a little bit.
Discord is spiking your audio.
Is it okay?
Yeah. All right. Who's gonna tell us why the stealth team's in trouble?
Why the stealth team is in trouble.
Oh no! Each of you can assume that each of you did something individual, or that you were, even if you were working together. Tell us your perspective on it.
Well, I can tell you why I'm on Santa's naughty list. So, I was just doing, a run-of-the-mill job. I was doing stealth ops for Santa Claus, laying out the plan for how he was going to deliver this kid his Christmas gifts. And then, basically what happened is I was hiding inside the closet because the family arrived while I was scouting the house. And the family went to bed and the kid went to bed, and then as I was trying to leave the closet, I tripped and my inflatable snowman kit fell out of my pocket. The one that I keep by all the time with me, because I just love this snowman kit, and it just expanded out right inside the closet. It knocked me out of the closet. Everything went flying. Me being this big stumbling yeti of a creature made a really loud thud as I hit the ground. And the kid woke up and he saw me and he screamed, and then I screamed, and so he screamed, and then I screamed and he screamed, and I panicked and I jumped right out the window. And suffice to say, there was a lot of money and damages done.
Awesome. A lot of red tape, a lot of paperwork, a lot of financial output. I bet you the toy maker elf department had to get down there and do some quick repair work on the side of the house.
Oh yeah.
Excellent. So that's how Durr found himself down and out this Christmas.
Listen, the stealth on the shelf department is a responsibility, one which I, from the very beginning, have taken incredibly seriously. And I want to make that clear to everyone. I did, however, think that I was signing up for the elf on the shelf department, and being an adorable, very visible, vest-wearing critter that I am, I have not hidden very well. I didn't know this was my job. I didn't know I was actually employed here. I have been publicly visible for the entirety of December, and I just realized a few days before Christmas that was actually not the role I was playing. So I've done, as far as I can read, done everything correct as far as I knew.
Excellent. So Plum thought he was doing a good job, just didn't get the memo on the job description. Actually,
it's not the eggnog, I promise.
All right, Apollyon, Tell us a little bit about your character and how they ended up on the naughty list this Christmas.
Well, I'm probably the newest member of the stealth on the shelf committee here. Showed up late first day. Basically, you show up late and unprepared. The rest of the elves and the yetis and all of them, they take this seriously, and they didn't feel like I was taking it seriously enough. Some words were said, got heated, now almost lost my shot at the shelf on an elf opportunity, and now I'm trying to get back into big man's good graces. It was a very bad person.
Awesome. All right, perfect. All right, Pyro, not a member of the Stealth on the Shelf department. Tell us how you ended up on the naughty list this Christmas.
I'll tell you, our buddy Snowbringer got himself on the naughty list this Christmas. You see, I've been doing a good job for a big man himself for a past good chunk of my life, and it's worn me down. I put all my life into my work. I've got nowhere. I've just had enough of it, but I'm still going ahead. I'm there in my faded white and red tights, a green vest jacket, which is a bit broken at the seams a little bit, and the yellow happiness department, the holiday cheer department, our badge, bright yellow smiley face, red Christmas hat on top. It's a little more grey than yellow, and didn't quite like the lack of personal kind of hygiene there. The 5 o'clock shadow and the bags under the eyes probably don't help either, but it's how I live. So I got asked to organise a welcome party for the newest members to the team at the North Pole. As it's part of the holiday cheer departments, morale is important to us. So I took it on. I may have had a little bit too much eggnog the previous night, because during my preparations, I accidentally put in, instead of a Christmas Carol CD, I put in a CD of Ozzy Osbourne, and it did not go quite down well with the big white man. It didn't help that part of the candy that I was dishing out was also laced with cinnamon powder, so some carnage went on that pie. I'll tell you, it was the best pie to go on in my personal experience. Not quite Christmas cheer. So I've been told I got one last chance. There's either been some troublemakers from the stealth on the shelf department, and I've been put on supervisory role.
I only have one question. Which Ozzy album did you put on? That's the really most important thing about that entire story.
The embarrassing thing is I can't actually remember right now. The cinnamon kind of went right up there, It fries your brain a little bit. You don't even notice.
Excellent. So you guys all found yourself right before Christmas kind of in dire straits because of this. Christmas came and went, like I said, and everyone thought that everything was okay. You figured, hey, all these foibles, it must not be a big deal. But you're all called in by your supervisor, and they have a stern look on their face. And then all of a sudden, as they kind of gather you all into their office, there's a gentle...
I stay in the corner of the room. I'm not quite with this group.
There's a gentle knock on the door, and Mrs. Claus, the big woman herself, shuffles into the room, looking more upset than you've ever seen her. Miss Claus almost always looks like she is in a good mood. She always looks happy and elated. Actually, as much as Mr. Claus kind of gets a lot of the attention, Mrs. Claus is what makes the North Pole the North Pole. She's there all year long, even when things get hard, lifting morale and making sure things run smoothly so that Santa can do his job well. She's oftentimes one of the most underappreciated, but the elves know, and the cryptids know especially, how much she is really the one who makes things run behind the scenes. You have never seen her upset like this, and you have never had reason to wonder, and you can't even think of what might be disturbing her. She looks at each of you.
I'll tip my disheveled Christmas hat.
And you see a small twinkle almost make its way to her eyes, but still not quite reach that space, and say, on a normal Christmas, we would be having a different conversation, but Santa is ill. Someone has taken his hyperspatial bag of holding and has made their way away with it. They've gotten it out of the secure wing of the workshop, and immediately his health started failing. A lot of people don't know this, but he is incredibly old. And yes, people know that, but what they don't know is his hyperspatial bag of holding actually allows him to draw on Christmas spirit in a way that keeps him young. And with it out of our control and potentially making its way out of the North Pole, we don't know what will come of the new year. We don't know if next year there will be a Christmas if we can't get it back, because if we can't get it back in the next few days, there may not be a Santa to deliver toys next year. And she looks at you all gravely and says, look, this was supposed to be a conversation about the fact that you're all teetering on the edge of the naughty list. And as employees of the North Pole, we can't have people who are on the naughty list working here, overseeing stealth, overseeing holiday cheer, but we decided to give you a chance. And if you can bring back Santa's hyperspatial bag of holding, we'll get you back on the nice list, and all will be forgiven. What do you say?
I say the big man's counting on us for a change. I mean, he counts on
We've
us
got
every
to
year.
save
but
Christmas.
I suppose we could.
I don't say anything. I just sort of tuck my flask into my leggings, behind my back though, so she can't see.
Okay.
I will not let you down, Mrs. Claus. I'm in 100%.
I just stand there with a glassy stare. It's like hyperspatial what of holding?
It's the big bag that all the toys go in.
Oh, big bag. I can find a big bag.
Pat, you Apollyon, what's your character's name again?
Well, just make one up.
One more time?
I can make
Yeah.
Aaron. A-E-R-N-I. Aaron.
All right. Perfect. She looks at each of you, and you see tears start to sweep up into her eyes and say, I have to go care for him. I'll leave you to your task. And so we're going to see a few cutscenes happen. You guys are going to meet with an individual who looks like he is a taller, more mature elf, but he's also dressed in a dentist jacket that says Dr. Hermie DDS on it. And he's giving you equipment and kind of sorting out your kits. We're going to see you guys in a garage filled with different types of vehicles of all different sorts, each of which have their own capabilities and abilities. We see you gathered around a planning table having intense conversations. And then all of a sudden we see somebody burst into that room and say, we don't know exactly who took it, but we do know it's leaving on the Polar Express. We were able to detect the Christmas spirit signature of the bag of holding in the luggage compartment, but we can't find it before it escapes, and we can't let everybody know that Santa is in trouble. Go ahead.
You see, I told you it must have been an inside job. There's no other way. It's those naughty ones from the delivery logistics option. They're always messing with the system every year. They just want days off for nothing.
My
Lazy.
grandpappy worked in the delivery system.
I'm sorry
there's
for you.
There's no way they would do that. This can't be an inside job.
How else would they get it out? It's on the Polar Express. They've got access.
Oh,
to
sorry. No,
everything.
for copyright reasons, it's 100% the Arctic Express and not the Polar
Artic
Express.
Sorry. What's the Polar Express? Never heard of it. Arctic Express.
That must be in the South Pole.
Sorry, it's the sour candy.
So you guys basically, all that's to cue you guys up to be able to flash back to any of those spaces as we go forward. So there's no need to actually establish what's happening in any of those spaces until you guys need to flash back and decide what's happening in any of those spaces or anything between now and whatever that moment in time is. So again, we see you guys rushing through the North Pole. After a successful Christmas, the elves and other polar denizens like to let loose quite a bit. So that's why the city is in the kind of disarray it is. A lot of the seasonal workers, and there are a lot of seasonal workers, are on their way out of the city on the Arctic Express. You see person after person, elves and cryptids and reindeers and others getting on the Polar Express from a distance. But again, as y'all get nearby, as you push your way through the crowd, it's starting to pull out and it's starting to pick up speed. What do you do?
How tall are you, Pyro? So what's your character's name again?
Buddy,
Oh, yeah.
no bringer.
I need to write down everyone's
Buddy.
names.
Yeah, there's space on the character sheet for you to write down your crew if you want to, if that's helpful. It also can be helpful if you want to change your nickname to whatever your character's name is. That can also make it easier. But you
So I
don't.
guess I'm gonna turn to Buddy and I'm gonna say, "We gotta get on a train, Buddy. You want me to throw you?" Because I assume I'm like 5 times his height as a yetilope.
At least 5 times his height.
Well,
can-
no. I need to stay with the group, you know. Ramos needs to be in the most key important part.
I look
Throw
up
Plum,
at you.
he's tiny.
I take a swig of my eggnog, just a small swig though. I'm not using it all up, and I say, "Throw me."
All right, Dora's gonna turn to. What's your character's name, Jesse?
So I'm Plum. What is yours, Nat?
Buddy Plum. I'm Dur.
Dur. And then Apollyon, what is yours again?
Airno.
Erno.
Erno. Okay. Buddy Plum. Erno.
Throw me, Dur.
All right, so Dur is he's gonna squat down, pick him up with the knees, of course. I'm just gonna chuck him and aim at the moving train, hoping to
Now-
get him on top or in an
As-
open door.
As I'm being chucked, I am first positioning my body in an aerodynamic way, and then I'm going to grasp for the side rails because there's just a bunch of doors and windows and things for me to hold on to.
That's excellent. So you're going to need to make a throw. You need to make a roll for this throw. Here's the thing. Naughty and nice is a little bit of a negotiable thing, especially as we get later in the game. And certain things may kind of cross over from one end of that spectrum to another, depending on what your character's motivations are. So right now, I mean, the reality is Plum said to throw him. You're offering to get them to the train. You made sure that he was ready for it. It seems like a nice thing to do to me. So I would say it's a nice roll. So unless you want to have some sort of mischievous motivations behind how you're doing it, I would say you're going to roll nice.
Well, Dur is a nice guy. He's just a bit clumsy, that's all.
Okay, so go ahead and make a nice roll. So you're going to roll 1d6, and you're going to try to roll underneath. You're going to try to get a 3 or lower.
Okay, cool. So I've got a dice roller up on my, if anyone's watching the stream, so I can't cheat this. So let's see what I get. I rolled a 2.
Oh.
All right, so
Dur is going to get down, shot put style, just lean back and just chuck.
excellent. So because you succeeded, you're going to move 1 point from naughty over to nice. So now should have a 4 in nice and a 2 in naughty.
Okay, let's update this.
Go ahead with that success, Jesse. Tell us how Plum grabs on again.
Yeah, so I'm looking for either a window frame or a door frame. Any of these things are starting to speed by, and I'm just trying. And I don't imagine that it's going fast yet. It's sort of stationary. It's just my little legs couldn't have gotten there any quicker.
Right.
And so I'm just trying to grab onto a rail and just be stable somewhere there.
Yeah. So you get launched and you land on the last passenger cart before the cargo storage at the back of the train. So you get on one of the last few trains carts as it's starting to pull out. It is a passenger train, and you land safely right inside the doorway leading up to it.
So because I'm right inside the doorway, I'm going to duck around and see if there's something I can scramble up onto, or I'm going to look for one of the small stop this train elf buttons. If there's human-sized ones, then I'm trying to get up on something to pull the lever. If there's elf-sized ones, then I'm pulling one of the lower ones.
I imagine there absolutely has to be an elf-sized one, but there are a lot of people between you and it. Let's go ahead and have you roll. What do you think? Is this a naughty or a nice roll?
Yeah, no, I'm knocking shins on my way there.
Okay, so you're knocking shins on your way there. Go ahead and roll naughty. And I would actually say this sounds like a nimble action. This sounds like you trying to dodge around and hit people at the same time.
I'm trying to get there. Well, I'm like wrapping them a little bit with
Right.
my flask. It's just enough to get them to move out of the way,
Right.
but I'm totally trying to skirt through.
So since it's nimble and you're an elf, you can roll 2d6.
2d6, okay. And I'm looking for.
A 3 or less.
I got a 3 and a 6.
So you're just looking for a success. If you get multiple successes, it doesn't change anything. Sometimes it'll change how much I give you, so always tell me both numbers, but mechanically it's the same. So you're going to move 1 point from nice over to naughty. So you should have a 4 in naughty and a 2 in nice now. And again, we're just trying to avoid hitting a 6 in either of those unless you are doing it towards the end of the game and you want to go out in some sort of spectacular fashion, or just watch the rest of us play for a while. It's great. And so you've got
What if my story ended there?
That's it. I'm on the train. I'm good. I'm out of here. I'm going to Boca. So you you get to that button and you hit it, and you hear kind of a squealing of brakes that slows things down, and then all of a sudden you hear a snap, and the train keeps on going.
Which part of the train keeps on going?
The entire thing, but it looked like there was an attempt for it to slow down, and it snapped. Now here's the thing. You know this train is incredibly well maintained. I mean, there are elves and cryptids and other people who are incredible engineers. There's even a few dwarves at the North Pole. There's no way that the braking system on this train accidentally snaps. So somebody absolutely sabotaged the braking mechanism.
I'm gonna lean out. I assume there's like a window or a door frame or something.
There's the door you just came in, yeah, and all the windows.
Yeah, I want to lean outside again as quickly as possible and just say, "Durr, run!"
So it did slow things down a little bit. So it did pull that speed back down. What is everybody else doing?
Break out into it. So run as
Well,
much as elf
Durr
wants to
hears
go.
run. Oh, sorry. So you're a bit quiet for me, Paul. I'm going to turn you up.
Yeah, you still are a little
Let me see
quiet.
My settings. So I got this thing right up my mouth. Give me a
I
minute. I'll
definitely
check my
didn't
settings.
notice that I was accidentally speaking over you. Well, Durr hears Plum say run, and he's not really sure why, but he's just going to run. So I'm just going to bolt forwards.
Can I try and grab onto his fur as he comes past me and clamber up onto his head and like use his antlers to direct his attention towards the train?
Absolutely. Go ahead and make a roll. Do you feel like that's a naughty or a nice maneuver?
And Apollyon, how's your mic doing? I don't want to skip over what he was saying. No.
Now I hear nothing.
Is that better right there?
Is anyone actually watching my
Kind.
stream, by the way? Yeah, can you hear the music in the background for the people who are watching? I don't know if I need to turn that down a bit.
I'm hearing nothing from you.
Are you
hearing
watching the
anything from me?
stream?
Oh, no.
I think most people can just see our videos.
Your beautiful faces.
Oh. So yeah, is it? No, it has to be like a naughty one. I'm grabbing onto his antlers probably a bit too low down for comfort for a cryptid. But
Okay, go ahead
it
and
works.
make that roll. It's Apollyon, did you get your audio?
This is
Oof, that's a 5.
It's still kind of cutting in and out.
Yeah, I'm hearing some syllables, but not all syllables. All right.
Okay, he'll be back here in a second.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties. That's a 5.
That's a 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So you try to grab onto him, and you catch a piece of hair, and you kind of feel it pull off to the side, but you miss him as he takes off.
Oh.
Oh, wait, are you an elf? Are you an elf?
Yes.
So that does sound like a nimble action. Do you want to roll 2d6 for that? Roll another. Give it another roll. Let's see what happens.
Never mind, it's a 6. So.
Nope. Yeah, you for a second you're like, wait, and then you turn around to reach and grab with the other hand, and you miss again. And so,
Dasher, Prancer, and Comet. I'm gonna just scurry between people's legs as I try and catch up.
Dasher and Prancer and Comet.
Can Durr sort of notice what Buddy was trying to do and give a helping hand or a helping antler?
Absolutely, you can stop and take notice and give a helping antler if you want to. Tell me what that looks like.
Durr is, when he runs, he's very like very conscious of his arms, so he doesn't have the sort of cognitive capacity to use those arms to both run and pick somebody up at the same time. So what he's going to do is he's just going to sort of lower his head down so that his antler is sort of within reach, and just scoop Buddy right up.
Excellent. That sounds pretty spirited to me. If you want to, you can move a point from naughty over to nice. You also do not have to if you don't want to. That's totally up to you. But if you want to, go ahead and do it. All right. Do we have new audio set up?
I think so. Is that better?
That's a million times better.
Much better.
Okay.
I missed your voice.
It feels pretty nice to me, so I feel like I probably should move a point from naughty to nice.
Okay.
Which means I'm gonna have to be a bit naughty at some point. But I'm gonna roll the dice first anyway. Let's see what I get. I have rolled a 2 again. All right. I'm
Perfect.
fine.
Yeah.
Do you want to describe how that happens, Buddy?
Yeah, so as I kind of reach and scramble and start using reindeer names just to explain my existence on this too long on this North Pole, scramble, I see Derm tilt his head down and I reach out like just with both arms and leap through underneath someone's leg and then just dive up and just wrap my arms around one of them. I'm just hanging off the side, struggling to pull myself up, kicking at his fur, getting my fur, probably foot caught in like a knot or something.
All right. So you get up on, but you're able to get up on his antler. And so, Apollyon, tell me, is it Aaron? What's the
The name was Ernell.
Ernell?
Like Ernell, yep. Aernil.
All right, cool. What is Ernell doing as the train is pulling out?
So breaking into as fast of a run as these little legs can get me, and I'm trying to spatially picture where I'm at now. Because originally what I was going to do was try to grab onto Buddy's belt as he was jumping and getting hold of that antler and hoping he was holding onto the antler enough to pull me along with him like a elf train here. So spatially, if I'm anywhere near any of these other characters, I'm grabbing onto them, whether unexpectedly or not, and yelling my little head off. I'm right here.
All right, so go ahead and do you feel like that's a naughty or a nice action?
It's definitely a desperate action, so I would go more naughty.
Go ahead and make a naughty roll for me to see if you can grab that belt as he's getting scooped up by this antler.
A 3.
All right, so you should have 3 in each one right now, so that's going to be a success. So move 1 point over from nice to naughty. So yeah, you guys are stacked up on top of Durr's antlers. One of you dangling off by Buddy's belt, the other one firmly kind of ensconced in his antler as he charges, trying to not pay attention to anything other than running with his hands and feet kind of all akimbo as he makes his way towards the space between the passenger car that Plum is in and the actual caboose and steerage car. So you guys make your way up and kind of make a desperate dive onto the walkway between those two cars and make it on. And everybody is on the train as it picks up even more steam and starts to pull out.
I would like to trigger a short flashback, if that's possible.
Absolutely.
So over the last few days, at least one of the days that we had, one of the afternoons, I found myself over to the North Pole Library, where I was looking through documents and resources after the person had ran in and said that we had, in fact, discovered that it was going to be leaving on the Artic Express. And so I want to have just an image of me taking this big old dusty tome off and just opening up pages and finding out the sort of layout of this train and what we might be able to navigate through.
Okay. Go ahead and tell me. So typically we want something a little naughty in that flashback also too. So tell us what's naughty about your library excursion.
Yeah. The books in the Artic library are not technically public.
So you broke into the Arctic Library.
No. I didn't break in. I just I was checking out some other books, and it happened to be there with me.
Okay. All right.
I would never break in. I mean, that's
Not beyond, not something you would do. Excellent. So we see you kind of looking over this series of carts. Now, the challenging thing is there are a lot of different carts and cars that will go on the road, but you do have a good understanding of the different types of cars that are on the average train.
I think I'm looking for two things. I'm looking for just a general understanding of what might be leaving during this season, and I'm also looking for at least one little bit of knowledge that might make this book not public knowledge. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a lot of the different ways that things work at the North Pole. A lot of times people just kind of wave it away as, hey, it's Christmas spirit. Christmas spirit makes the lights light up. Christmas spirit makes the hot chocolate flow. Christmas spirit makes the indoor plumbing work. Like, there's a lot of different things that people just kind of hand wave as
my family's always believed in.
Yeah, as Christmas spirit being the thing. But this is absolutely, you do find out that the Arctic Express is absolutely a nuclear powered train. It is absolutely running on nuclear power, and
where is that nuclear power sourced?
It is.
I mean, where is it located?
where do we get the nuclear? It is in the car behind the now I can't even think of train words. It's where it's in like where the boiler would typically be. There is a nuclear reactor, so it's the second car back right after the car in front. What is wrong with my head? The engine. Thank you very much. And so right behind the engine, there is a power cart that connects directly to that.
I am totally drawing a train at the bottom of my note card here.
That is absolutely what you should be doing right now. And so, yeah, there's a nuclear power station in what would typically be the boiler car. And it's modern, it's high tech, and that is because it has to go outside of the North Pole's Christmas spirit influence, but it does operate on that nuclear power all the time, just to not be a drain on other Christmas spirit operated things. Because Christmas spirit does actually operate a lot of things, just not this train.
Is it Christmas spirit a fossil fuel?
Christmas spirit, when things get bad, is treated as a non-renewable energy, but as long as you can get people to believe, then we're fine. And so, so y'all are, so you do know that, and you do get a good general sense, usually there's a couple of passenger cars. There's always a dining car. There's usually, a couple different classes of passenger. It really just depends on the expense of the ticket. Like, every single car is nice and has a lot of amenities. There's dancing hot chocolate service in every single car, which we all know is the most important thing about the Arctic Express. And so you get a good general sense of the different types of cars that you will see as you go forward. Absolutely. With that, so
we're on. Like,
so there's rich people on this train then.
Do what?
You're saying there's going to be like a bunch of rich people that are richer as we go along on this train then.
I mean, rich in Christmas spirit, but yes, also money. And so, I'm not saying that the North Pole has a rigid socioeconomic class-based system, but I'm not saying it doesn't either. And so we'll discover. We can discover that as we play through. So
makes Jer feel slightly uncomfortable because he grew up in a Yeti community. And in the Yeti communities, they only have this one high school. So he grew up in this class where all the rich people and all the poor people kind of mixed together. And he was always bullied because he lives in this little igloo that could hardly fit him in it. And all the rich kids would make fun of him.
Oh, it's so sad.
I want to hold Dur's hand, but there's no context for it.
I know. So y'all find yourself standing on the walkway between the passenger luggage car and the the first passenger car. We see Plum inside there having to hit that button, maybe hit it a few more times after you heard it groan and snap, just to make sure. Yeah, but something is going on, especially with your studies. You know, there's no way that this train didn't get a thorough checkout before it left the station. So if there's something wrong with the brakes, it's probably a bigger issue than it would be otherwise.
So how many carriages long is this train typically?
It,
likely to be?
It will vary. The train is usually 4 to 6 cars long, plus the boiler, plus the engine.
And are we like towards the back on like the?
You guys are towards the back. You're
Back in the last. Yeah.
you're spanning the last 2 cars.
Right in front of the
All right.
caboose.
Good job, good job, sir. And I suppose Plum could have hit the brakes though.
The brakes are broken. The brakes didn't
Broken?
work. Didn't you see it stutter?
I suppose now that you mention it.
No, you don't get this. The brakes are broken. Like
That's
this
impossible.
isn't-
Yeah,
It's an
that's why
issue.
I'm not quite sure if you really hit them.
Try it yourself.
No, we're already on. We don't need to like test any further. I mean, I believe you, Plum. You're a good shelf on
Wait,
stealth.
You see an older elf woman named one of you recognizes her name is Susan. She leans over and she says, "Did y'all say the brakes are broken?"
No, man. The brakes are perfectly fine. The Christmas spirit is fixing them constantly. They never break.
No, don't worry. A brake is supposed to be broken. That's why it's called brake, right?
Oh.
That sounds like perfect logic.
She like kind of looks between the two of you. I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's broken because it's supposed to be broken, but the Christmas spirit will fix it. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
But don't worry. Here. And we're gonna give her like a single piece of like the candy from my pocket.
And what kind of candy is it again?
Haribo sours.
Is it cinnamon laced or is this just a straight
This
up
one's
one?
not cinnamon laced.
This one's not cinnamon laced. All right.
They got some good off me.
So
Are you sure you know which pocket's which?
I don't. But I'm just like reaching and like grabbing him, but I'm just like no packet. It's just empty in the pocket.
she with kind of exhausted eyes takes the candy and like, oh, like so good, and then just pops it in her mouth. So y'all are standing at the back of this car. It is packed. Every seat in this car seems to be taken and occupied. You recognize a lot of people from the Stealth on the Shelf department, from the Holiday Cheer department, people who are part-timers who are heading to the edge of the polar region to spend the rest of their kind of post-Christmas vacation with family and friends. What do y'all do?
I think we need to find somewhere with a little less audience.
I think
Yeah,
Dara's going to just move forwards to the next carriage. I need to
I'm
find
looking.
a hypocritical bag.
I'm looking for a first aid kit somewhere around here, and I'm gonna try to get my hands on that because I think we may need that.
While they move forward, I wanna duck my head into the caboose.
Okay. So you're gonna. So we've got Aaronel who's making his way around looking for the first aid kit, which has to be here somewhere. Go ahead and make. That sounds like that kind of planning, that healing intent. That sounds like a nice roll for me. Go ahead and make that roll. We see Plum kind of step backwards through the elf-sized door. Out onto the walkway. Things have picked up quite a bit. You're seeing the polar landscape kind of whip by. That cold air hits you in kind of a bracing fashion, like a peppermint candy first thing in the morning. And you make your way back through the other elf-sized door into the caboose, which is largely it's steerage. There's a lot of people's different effects. The last-minute stuff that's been packed on, the luggage that people brought with them, is filling up this compartment. So we'll find out what you do with that in just 1 second. Aaronel, what did you roll?
I rolled a 3 again.
A 3 again, and what was your? That was a nice roll. What was your stat in nice right now?
2.
2. So you failed, unless you think there is some reason you should have been able to roll another dice. Now the thing you can do, is because you just failed by 1, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, there is Christmas music playing in all of these cars, of course, even though it's post-Christmas. On the Artic Express, Christmas music plays year-round. And your favorite Christmas jam just came on the overhead speakers. If you want to sing along with it a little bit, you can absolutely move that 1 point up and succeed.
Jingle bell, jingle bell rock.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You can go ahead and add. Go ahead and add 1 point over. That'll be the 1 point. You don't need to double bump up. That's just your success, and that getting spirited moves it over. So you should have 3 and 3 now in that stat.
As soon as you said Christmas music is playing on the train, that was the song that I started playing in my head.
But now that song is taken, and you're gonna have to think of another one. And so, apparently there's a John Denver song about Daddy not being drunk this Christmas that somebody picked one of our previous playthroughs.
Nice.
That was, and they had the entire thing and sang probably
That's
like
awesome.
4 or 5 verses of. Yeah, it was great. So you were able to locate towards the front of the car, in the kind of steward area, the first aid kit. And as you are grabbing it, you turn around and you see in a bright red vest, a slightly disheveled but still fairly smart and well put together, or fairly stylish rather, steward who looks a little confused that you're in that space. Plum, what are you doing in the back in the cabinet?
So I happen to notice that this place is just very disorganized. So I am organizing and rearranging everything, just to make sure that people aren't confused when they go pick up their stuff, that nothing gets lost in the process of them going, once they get home. That would be terrible. So I'm just reorganizing things.
I mean, that sounds nice unless there's another. Okay.
It's very nice. I'm looking for in the process of restructuring stuff. I am looking for either a sharp or blunt object.
So you are I think it's still a nice roll at the end of the day.
It is.
You're as you're looking through, you find
No. Rearranging.
As you're rearranging, well, I mean, as you're looking around for the place to rearrange things, to put things in the maximized area. A lot of the stuff was just tossed in last minute because they were trying to stay on a schedule.
Who could be so inconsiderate? Honestly.
Right. And you're arranging things by size, by capacity. You actually come upon a cabinet that you, from your studies, know is actually where they keep the military grade candy canes in this. And so there's 4 military grade candy canes that can be used either as batons, or the ends can be snapped to make them operate like spears also too. They're a little bit big for an elf. You'd have to operate one with 2 hands, but you can easily harness it on your back also too. But for a larger creature, they could easily be wielded with 1 hand also too.
Okay. Do I need to roll?
Go ahead and roll.
And can I carry, if I can harness one on my back, can I also for a moment carry one in my hands?
You would absolutely probably be able to make it away with 3 of these, as long as because you could it's like imagine carrying spears. Like you can lay a couple across.
But yeah. I could waddle my way around.
Yeah. And actually, so since that's your thing, go ahead and make your nice roll. And we'll see how good of a job organizing you did. But you can find those absolutely without a roll.
And I'm looking at my nice stat to do that roll.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My nice stat is currently a 2.
Okay.
And I rolled a 2.
All right. So you succeed. And so that's going to move 1 point over from naughty to nice.
Whew.
So you should have 3 in each.
It was a good thing I wasn't being naughty there.
So yeah, you are able to find those. It's a little bit of a job kind of getting back through the doors. But
I've got 1 strapped to my back. I've got 2 in my arms. I'm looking for Dur now. But I don't know where Dur is. So I'm taking time to get.
Well,
back
let's flash back to the compartment. And before we find out what happens with the steward, what have Dur and Buddy been up to during this time?
Well, as the kind of Dozo starts jumping forwards, we'll find somewhere quieter up ahead. As soon as like less than a dozen steps, look over my shoulder, realize the other two are gone. Start to have a little bit of a sweat panic at, they're supposed to be on my charges. And then I just hand on to we'll keep going. We'll find a quiet place. We'll find like where the wagons and stuff, right? And we'll try and work out where this inside man has hidden the loot. I still think it's an inside job.
Well, while that was all going on, Gar is just slowly moving like forwards in the carriage, and he's. There are passengers where we are right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, every seat is full. You, like I said, you recognize a lot of the people here, either from your department or just some of them are just faces that you've seen in the distance. There are some people you don't know, but overwhelmingly, these are employees who are leaving. This is one of the last trains out of North Pole Central for the season, and so you do recognize a lot of the faces on this train and this car specifically. So, I mean, there are people moving around and chit-chatting with each other, people who are laughing, cracking jokes, swapping some Christmas contraband that kind of made it through the holidays, but they are overwhelmingly just kind of chill and relaxed attitude. You do see up ahead that Ernell is in the steward area, and there seems to be a little bit of a commotion up that way.
Right, yeah, so Dar is slowly making his way there, but while he's making his way there, he's sort of rummaging around in all the passengers' belongings, and he's just muttering to himself, how big is the big bag supposed to be?
It's all right, it's not likely to be here. It's a big bag. It's bigger than these bags.
So you actually the ones down below are a little bit hard for you to get to, but the ones up high, which are it's only about halfway filled. Like most of the shorter creatures keep their stuff below their seats. Most of the taller creatures keep their stuff above. So you're able to kind of like, as you walk by, kind of like you would on a bus or an airplane, like you can just kind of look through and start to kind of see what different people have. A lot of it looks like different kind of toys that didn't make it through the check process, like kind of like one-offs, things that had a small error or issue with them that people might be taking home to loved ones, as well as just kind of just general goods. You, if you want to make a roll for anything specific, you can go and you can tell me what it is, and we can roll to see if it's there or not.
I want to look for a big bag.
Okay.
Just any big bag.
Any big bag.
I feel like this is naughty though.
Okay.
But I've only got a naughty of 1, so.
So you can make that roll if you want to. Like I said, we're using an extra mechanic called a scar. You can use a scar to roll an extra one, and since you're cryptid, if you're doing this in a somewhat destructive way, like from a carnage standpoint, you could roll a third die, or if it's somehow related to what you do in your department as a stealth die, you could roll that also. You could roll an extra die from that also. So you could roll 2 or 3 dice to see if you get that one.
Right. So very clumsily, like rummaging around, very conspicuously is definitely what I do in the stealth on the shelf department. So I feel like I should roll an extra die for that.
Okay.
I'm not going to be violent and.
That's fine. So you do one from that. You can roll those 2 if you, like I said, if you want to roll a third, you can take a scar and we can narrate how you end up getting hurt while doing this.
That sounds really fun. So I'm going to take.
Okay, so go ahead and roll 3D. Go ahead and roll 3d6.
All right. First roll is a 2. That's not a 1. I'm looking for a 1. All right. Second roll is a 5. Third roll is a 1.
There you go. Yeah. So go ahead and move 1 point over from nice to naughty, right? Okay. But excellent. Yeah, you find that, and you, as you are going through, do find this big stuffed duffel bag up towards the front. One of the first few passengers in this train has this just absolutely gigantic, like 7.5 foot long duffel bag that doesn't seem like there's any reason they should have. No. It is also a very, even for an elf, a very small individual who has this giant 7.5 foot long 3 foot wide duffel bag
So
above their
I
seat.
guess I'm just gonna yank it right down.
Okay. How do you hurt yourself? What kind of scar do you get while you're doing this?
All right. So I imagine what's happening is I'm sort of poking my head up and looking around, and as I'm moving my head around, because I'm not very aware of how long all my body parts are, my antler gets stuck in a little nook.
Oh.
And as I yank this bag down that I've found, I'm gonna just sort of like trip over a bit and sort of, I guess I chip a little bit of my ankle.
No.
Maybe a knob falls off.
Yeah, you get it caught in there, and one little knob gets just kind of snaps. It was already a little loose, but it snaps. And here's the thing: a lot of people don't know for Yeti lobes, like that hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
painful.
genuinely a little upset by how he narrated that.
It's basically bone.
It's the worst. I was ready for anything. I was ready for anything except the antler snapping off.
Not the entire thing, just a knob.
Yeah.
We didn't lose the entire antler.
This little knob.
so-
Yeah, I've just updated my character art, so there's a.
Oh no.
I'm doing character. I've got the train. I've got the candy cane and my flask there.
There you go.
We're slowly equipping.
Everybody can take a level up for all the great character arts. There are no levels in this game, but you can have as many as you want though. And so
Can my level up be a badge that says 1 up?
you can say, yeah, absolutely. You can one up your badge. And so
I'm adding that to my items list.
there we go.
DM said it. It exists.
It exists. You get this bag, you get it pulled down, your antler snaps off, and all of a sudden this small, petite, almost looks school age, like this probably is an intern, elf looks up at you and just fixes you with the dirtiest look you have ever seen one elf give another elf. And we're gonna go look at what's happening in the steward section over with Ernell right now. Ernell, so you are getting also affixed with this kind of odd look, like, why are you here, by this steward who has just come back. And they say, sir, the hot chocolate dance is about to begin. You need to find your seat.
I'm sorry. I'm really not trying to cause a disturbance here. My friend over there, Dur, he's diabetic. He's having a diabetic emergency. You see him pulling bags down over
Right.
there.
We're about to serve the hot chocolate. That is why we know that if Yetis don't get their hot chocolate, their blood sugar drops and they go into a rage. Sir, you are in the way right now.
Absolutely. If you don't mind, now I'm just gonna take this first aid kit over there. It looks like he's hurt himself. I just want to make sure.
Go ahead and you had rolled successfully for this already, right? Correct?
Yeah.
So you're able to grab the first aid kit. Are you just going to push your way past this individual, or are you going to try to kind of deftly move around them?
I'm going to push past with not with any malice, but with a very definitive sense of purpose. And this is important to me, and I have to be there to render aid.
Okay. So since your cause is noble, you can make a nice roll. But since you're not, it doesn't sound like a nimble action, so you're not going to get that bonus die for being an elf.
All right. That's a 6.
That's a failure, and you don't want to go to 6. So, so as you're kind of going back and forth, you push into this steward, who unfortunately is 2.5 feet taller than you, and you just bounce back, and the first aid kit kind of hits the ground, shatters, and spreads all over the floor. You can grab one item off of that first aid kit from the ground really quickly. What is that item that you grab?
Tourniquet.
A what?
A tourniquet.
A tourniquet. You grab a tourniquet.
What are you
we've got planned.
Well, I guess we won't be getting to the hot chocolate song right away, because now I have to clean up this mess. Take your seat now.
I apologize. And
So-
I walk away.
About this time, Plum, you make your way back in, and you see, you hear this steward up in the front, being doesn't seem like the Christmas spirit is really with them right now. They've got that post-Christmas grumpiness that sometimes happens in elves. And then you've got you see that Dur is kind of nursing their antler. It's been snapped off. You can see it kind of hanging in the luggage compartment up above. This little knot that's come off, and there seems to be quite a bit of commotion. What is everybody doing?
Dur's just sniffling a bit because like, oh, ow, this is really sore.
What are you doing with my bag?
This is your bag.
Yeah, that's my bag. Like,
It's,
I
bigger than
worked hard all season long, and that's my bag. And they said that I could have everything in it, and that whatever I could carry, I could keep, and that is mine. And I need you to put it back now.
But Santa needs the
they?
big bag.
They is my supervisor.
Really?
Are you my supervisor? I don't think so.
I never said I was. I'm just, making sure that everyone's nice and happy here. And it's obviously been a little bit of a confusing era going on right now. So,
Well,
just-
if you have an issue with it, you can take it up with Kringle Sugarnog, and he will tell you that he told me whatever I can carry, I could keep. And I was able to get that bag enchanted and carry all of that out. So if you've got an issue, you take it up with him.
Well, out of curiosity, just humor me here. What department do you two happen to be in?
Do you not recognize Mr. Sugarnog's name? Obviously, we are in the toy making department. He's been head toy maker for the last decade. What department are you a part of?
But do you not recognize the badge?
I don't know. I know that the cheer department, if you look in the manual, is supposed to have yellow badges. That one looks pretty darn gray and disgusting.
Well, that is because I've been in the cheer department before you were even born.
Well, that is a
You
long
respect your
time.
elders.
Well, I respect my elders when they're worth respecting. Would you please put my bag back? Dur, what are you doing during all this?
Go on.
Dur is just very confused at the moment. He's like, wait, but this is the big bag, isn't it Santa's?
That is not Santa's bag. Like, that bag is at capacity, but that bag won't expand beyond capacity, which is what Santa's bag does.
Dur is very curious. He wants to see what's inside the bag.
Okay.
So he's kind of not even really comprehending much of what this person is saying, and he's just going to start rifling inside.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Whilst having this conversation, I see Durst reaching for it. Can I shuffle very slowly round him to turn his field of view away from Dur and the bag?
Yeah, so let's say this is happening while they're dressing you down, and that he's going through it, and you're kind of redirecting their attention away. And so, yeah, so you look at the bag. There's a ton of secondhand video game systems in here. It's not even the next gen systems. It's the next gen system. These are prototypes for Christmas 2021. So there's the there's a PlayStation 6 inside there. And so this it is not uncommon for a lot of interns to have a deal where they can keep an item or two from that year, and it is also not uncommon for those items to make their way to different black market websites. And be sold basically to help them offset the fiscal cost of their internship. And so
I love the idea of this underground elf market.
a lot of the time it's basically corporate espionage. Santa's doing all the R&D and then just selling it off to Sony and Nintendo and other video game developers. And so
At this point, Aaron has made his way back to Dur here, and while Buddy is talking to this owner of the bag, I'm gonna whisper over to Dur, "Hey, Dur, Plum needs us. He went this way. We got to go get. He needs us. There's something over there that he found that we need to look at. This isn't what we're looking for." And I just kind of see if I can redirect his attention span toward the area Plum went.
And Dur's just going to go, oh, okay, completely forget about this big bag. Just drop it on the floor and start following Ernal?
Ernell.
And you hear a lot of things go crunch inside that bag when you drop it. And you hear the young elf that you're talking to, buddy, screams at the top of their lungs in deep upset. As they start kind of picking through the bag, seeing what kind of carnage has been wrought, we see Plum, like I said, start to come up that aisleway. He is now laden with these giant, long candy canes that are somewhere between the length of a cane and a short staff for the average human being. So they are pretty long on an elf. I mean, it covers his entire body plus a little bit. And he's got one strapped to his back, and he's carrying one in each arm as he makes his way up the aisle.
So I'm approaching them, and I see disruption. I see a very upset stewardess. I see a bag that has been pulled down. I see Dur is bleeding a little bit.
From the antler.
Yeah, from the antler. I'm going to as subtly as I can, while now feeling very uncomfortable with the fact that I'm carrying 3 legal weapons, according to the Artic Express. I'm going to try to get one into Dur's hand, and one into Ernell's hand. I need to write that even clearer. 1 second.
I am the newest member here, so
Yeah,
He's the rookie.
One into Ernell's hand, and then I want to because I know Dur is very directional and very purposeful. I want to say, Dur, let's go to the next room. Like I want out of this space. I'm very there's more eyes on me now than there were when I backed silently into the background, and my job is in fact not being seen. Not like I thought it was. For a while there, I would have been perfectly fine with this amount of attention, but now I know I have a different role.
Whilst they're trying to sneak past, I'll try and help this distressed intern in reorganizing or like just preparing what damage has been done. To their duffel bag.
Organizing stuff is very smart. That's a very good way to go about it.
And just help like make sure all the things are still in the bag and try and recover what damage has been done by Durs. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like he's just my associate. You know.
Are you going for a spirited move here, or are you just getting a couple things in there as you guys head out? Head out.
Yeah, I'll do a spirited, I guess. I'll go spirited on it.
Okay, so you see this person all of a sudden, like their shoulders heave just a little bit, and it almost looks like a near sob racks their body.
I like arm around the zone going, don't worry, I'll give you a hand, it'll all be fine.
It's just a whole season down the drain, and no one understands what I'm going through, and I'm not doing well in school, and this internship was a really important thing to me, and is really like about how I'm gonna get placed, and I needed this to be okay.
Look at me. Look at these bags. This is what awaits you if you throw everything into it. Go and watch out for yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. You mean your supervisor? I mean, Kringle is a hard. I know he's a taskmaster.
He's a taskmaster. I mean, it took a lot to get him to give me this deal.
Exactly. And you got it.
I know. Thank you.
Have faith in yourself. You'll be fine.
So
Let's try and pack this up a bit, and I'll.
So she helps you pack it up, and then at the end, she turns to you and she says, I can't figure out how to get this back in, and she hands you a belt that says chimney thin on it. Why don't you take this?
Chimney thin.
Yeah.
Thin. Are you sure? I mean, if you worked hard for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I don't think I'm going to be able to keep it in here. And the rule was like whatever I could carry, and I if it's out of the bag, I'm not going to be able to keep track of it. So you just go ahead and take it.
That's very kind of you. Merry Christmas and all that to you. Still love you. I know you can nail this internship. And I'm going to slowly just walk away backwards, like.
Yeah. So it's a belt. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, do I successfully get those candy canes into the other's hands?
Oh yeah, there's no roll for that. You hand candy canes to whoever you hand them to, and they have giant candy batons now also.
So Dur and Ernell, both of you should have a baton.
A baton, candy cane baton.
Candy cane baton.
Nice.
For some of you, it's more like a giant, spear / shiv. For somebody else, it's more like a small pokey shiv. But it's all a matter of scale, you know. So on the belt that you got, there's a gentle kind of snowflake and Christmas tree inlay, and then there's a knob where the belt buckle would normally be, and it says N on one side and T on the other.
Is that N and T? Do you say?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's currently set to N.
Current sound. All right. I'll catch up with the others and like turn belt going. It's actually a nice belt. It's like one of the newest items. Like it completely is awesome. It's shiny. The leather's been worked up.
It's gorgeous.
It's old. It's got leather flaking off of it.
I like that. You're becoming more stylish as this goes on.
Yeah. As y'all make your way to the edge of this card, past the steward who is just finishing cleaning up the first aid kit. As you get into the next card, you hear the end of the hot chocolate song, which I don't know if you guys are all familiar with, or if anybody wants to sing the hot chocolate song.
Hot chocolate.
It's kind of sounds like someone in the corner going.
I know the scene. I don't know the song though, right? Like I can imagine everything that's happening.
Right. So let's see. I know that there is a line that is never ever let it cool. I believe that's got to rhyme with a line like, "Here our mugs are always full." But I literally can only remember hot chocolate on a regular basis from that song. And that Tom Hanks is an American Jim. And so. So y'all as the hot chocolate song ends in the cart before you actually come in, and you do realize it is a dining car, and so there are a number of tables set around. This is a slightly wider than is actually realistic in normal human culture, but totally reasonable for elf culture. Dining car. So there are some tables spread around. You see that there are different groups of people who are engaged in different board games and conversations. Some people are playing cards. There's food on the table that is being served to a couple different groups. Just a lot of groups. There is plenty of open space in this car to move around. And there is a Christmas song going on in the background that's not hot chocolate. If anybody wants to make a spirited roll, this is an excellent time to introduce hot chocolate and move a point from naughty to nice.
Naughty to nice. No, I don't need that.
Oh yeah, did I get for
You said a new song came on, or
It is a new song in this cart, so if somebody needs to move a point to nice, this is a good time to introduce what song is playing.
Sorry, Jim. Did I get a point moved across from the intern chat before, or is that
For spirited? Yes, you did. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I'm okay.
Another good one. Come, they told me, a newborn king to see.
Excellent.
They're just playing all the good tunes.
All the jams. You may move a point from naughty to nice if you would like.
I've got one written down that I'm just holding on to till
till the right minute.
Until I really need it.
So, all right. So, as y'all make your way into this room, you see all these different people gathered around. You recognize some people in this room, but there are far fewer who look familiar to you. These seem like a lot of people who probably were seasonal workers, or maybe just work in different departments than you do.
I'm gonna try to distance myself once again from the group as we pass through this, and I am looking around for someone who I recognize to see if there's just a familiar face that maybe I might be able to have a conversation with.
Yeah, you any particular type of creature you're looking for, or just somebody you recognize?
I really want to see if I can find someone who. I don't. What would benefit me right now? What am I looking for? I want to find someone from the toy department, if possible.
Okay, you see Giggle Tinselbottom, who is a longtime toy department kind of mainstay. Not a supervisor, You know, that's whatever I said his name was, Kringle Sugarnog. But Giggle is a longtime friend of yours. You guys usually connect a few times during the season. You'll go out for, you know, simple meals, kind of catch up, you know, play some reindeer games, you know, just kind of good North Pole companion. You see them across the room with a couple of friends, just kind of wrapping up a round of Monopoly, because that's what you say. That's what's the favorite reindeer game. It's not a good game. Like, you know, you've been trying to get them to play some other games, but that's what reindeers play. And so it's just kind of, you know, what the reindeers do, people pick up on. And so.
Like the popular. So I'm gonna just very nonchalantly just make my way over make my way over and just sort of like glance over and be like, Jingle, what are you doing here?
It's Giggle, but you'll say it correctly, and they won't correct you.
I was wondering why the name I wrote down started with a G, but I was pretty sure it was still Jingle.
Hey Plum, how's it going?
Man, it's going well. I'm ready for this break. I'm gonna be honest, but I don't really. Something's weird this year. How's Kringle doing?
Kringle, he's he's always kind of a taskmaster. I mean, like, they've asked me to take over 2 or 3 times. I just don't want that kind of stress.
I've heard he's been more stressed this year than any year past. It's odd, right?
Yeah, we did have somebody who was coming through who was doing some some consulting work, some like efficiency stuff. I mean, like, it's weird, you know, you put out a couple million units every single year and they still come through like once a century, and they're like, could you do this faster? And the answer is no, we can't do this faster. Like,
no, I mean, you all are the best at your jobs. I mean, you raised production like 3% when you first joined, and that was astronomical.
I know, right? Like, it's been a few thousand years, but, you know, we haven't seen a bump like that. And, you know, since then, it's, you know, I don't like to brag, but I appreciate that you notice.
I always pay attention. You know that. I remember when we first started out, but this year's, have you noticed anything odd with what's going on around here? I mean, I don't know if it's shifting departments. I don't know if people are being let go, but I just have this bad feeling.
You know, it seemed kind of down when we were leaving. Like, Miss Claus usually comes to see everybody off. You know, that people seem just in bad spirits. Like, it just seemed like, I agree. Things just weren't.
You manage loading the train every year, right? Like, getting the toys on, getting everything prepped for
the sleigh. Yeah, I mean, like, I oversee sleigh deployment. Yeah.
Well, sleigh deployment, but then also just getting everything ready for people leaving, right? All the used products, all the broken toys, the stuff that people are taking home for their holidays.
Oh yeah, the inventory checkout, I take care of that. Yeah.
Yeah. How'd that go? I saw a duffel bag full of PlayStation 6s, I think.
I don't know how she convinced Kringle to do that. Like, he's usually like a one and done like kind of guy. Like, I don't want to make any accusations.
I'm gonna be honest. Your caboose was a mess.
Well, I mean, that's the train station. I mean, like, I give him everything in an orderly fashion. Like, I don't, but yeah, probably.
Yeah, I just don't know. Something feels off.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that consultant got everybody just kind of worked up. It was like rush. We're almost out of time. Like, which even, I mean, like, yeah, we're almost out of, like, it's always a deadline in the 2 weeks leading up to the big day, you know, like, it's always a deadline. We're always running out of time.
Are they leaving on the train as well? Are they going home?
I think so. I mean, like, I was surprised they even stuck around through Christmas. I mean, like, there was no reason for them to stay through Christmas. Like, they could have left on the night we loaded up.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly could have. I mean, we're going out to the Outer Rim anyway. But what? By chance, did any of them get PlayStation 6s or extra components that they're bringing back with them?
I don't know. They had a.
That's supposed to be. I mean, that's supposed to be for us, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think. I mean,
Kringle made that happen.
I don't think so. They had a pretty small like they had like a carry-on size bag. Like I don't even think they checked anything.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I just, man, I'm ready for a break.
Me too. You want to play a game?
I don't know if I have time for Monopoly, man.
While Plum's having this conversation with Giggle, what is everybody else doing?
I'm still bopping along.
Dora's just watching. Oh my god, I keep forgetting your character's name. Aaron?
Ernell.
No.
Ernell.
I need to write this down.
Ernell.
Hang on, I'm actually gonna.
Say it enough, eventually we'll get it. Like,
Aaron, okay. Oh, that's not right.
I'm just gonna keep moving towards like this kind of seems like kind of a party kind of area of the train.
Yeah, everybody is in way better spirits here. You actually suspect that the hot chocolate they were serving may have been steamed eggnog, if you know what I mean. There's definitely a party vibe in this space that is much more vibrant than the last car.
So it's like very high profile. So it's unlikely they'll be hiding it here. I think. So I'm going to keep moving along.
If he's just strolling through, I want to join him as he strolls past as kind of an excuse to not play Monopoly.
Yeah.
And get the information over to him that there's some consultants that have been in the deploy department, because he's been suspicious of this whole thing being an inside job. And I want to let him know that there's been some consultants that have been new to this area.
Consultants again?
Yeah, I don't know what Giggles was saying. Something was off, and he said the consultants have been running. They've been trying to rush everyone in the toy department. You know how the toy department works. Like, it's been a couple thousand years since they've increased efficiency. You know.
I mean, you can't increase efficiency on like 99.8%
Well,
efficiency. Like, it's there.
Keep your eyes out, and if needed, I think you look a little bit like a consultant. So keep that in mind.
What's that meant to mean?
Leaving it there. I end conversation.
I walk off. I play Monopoly if I have to.
I don't like the board games in the general area though.
Do what?
Which one, like, if like all the board games going on, I've got one like kind of semi-important question. Which one's more popular, Everdell or Wingspan?
It's a fair question.
That seems like a naughty question. What's your naughty score?
That too.
It's Wingspan.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's the better game. I'm saying there's more people in this car playing Wingspan than there are playing Everdale.
That's up on a train.
I hear what you're saying.
I'm just curious. But I'm gonna like catch up with Plum as well. Like, whoa, who's this consultant's name? Did you get it?
Man, he just said there was a mix of them. They've been working closely with Kringle, but that's about all the information he had, man.
Kringle's been a little bit more generous than usual. Did you see that intern back there?
He had like 16 PlayStation 7s.
Can we also talk about the fact that he had a duffel bag that could have had her own body in it?
Well, she,
Or an intern.
I honestly, things are weirder this year than they've been in a while.
Yeah, that's 2024. Yeah.
Dur, what are you doing while they're having this conversation?
We're not in the same carriage, are we?
You are. Unless you didn't come with them for some reason.
Well, I was previously watching
No.
Ernell. I just have to check my notes here. Ernell just dancing along to the song, but I guess
And that's what I really have in the audience.
Daryl wants to have a look around and see like what kind of belongings are listed around.
What kind of so this most of the places here people have their gear either underneath their the table they're sitting at are just stored somewhere else. This actually feels kind of like a mix more between a bar and a restaurant than it does like a seating cart. And so there is actually a kind of a small like hibachi style grill in the middle, and there's a full bar behind it. And there's a bunch of tables surrounding that, as well as a few different drink stations. And you see there's a number of automata, so animated gingerbread, toys come to life, other people like that, who are actually helping serve on this train. Not because automatons are slaves, but because they're incredibly good at navigating this particular car with all the different ins and outs of it.
Okay. Well, Nora's feeling a little bit hungry, so I think he's just going to sit down next to one of these carts with food.
Okay.
And see if he can subtly just sneaks a little something to eat.
If you want to sneak food off of somebody else's plate, you absolutely can make a roll for that. That sounds pretty naughty to me.
All right. Well, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a little roll for that then. All right. So I got a naughty of 2, and I rolled a 6.
So you reach for their plate, and as you kind of reach down, there's a piece of seared steak, like sitting there. You reach down to grab it, and you crack the porcelain plate like in half as you press down on it with your giant yeti paw, and they go, "Oh, are you? I'm sorry. Are you hungry?"
Yes.
I mean, do you want me to call the server over?
Do you want to call the server over?
I mean, I'm gonna need a new steak now, so I'm going to call the server over.
No, I was just gonna quickly stuff the steak into his mouth because he thinks that if he moves as quick as possible, then maybe they won't notice.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then Dorothy's gonna get back up and then like slowly sneak away as if he thinks he's being the most inconspicuous thing in the world.
While knocking over like three chairs on the way back. They'll call a server over and they're going to order a new steak. But yeah, your belly's totally full now with delicious steak goodness. And so, so what is everybody else doing?
I've stopped singing. I'm staring at Durr with amazement.
About eggnog.
So, I'm gonna toss in a little bit of a suggestion because I was remembering that this is part of the mechanics that we can play with to see if anyone else, because I kind of missed my good opportunity to have a flashback that gave me more information on potential people who were consulting about things. But some of us could potentially know more than me.
It's true. If somebody wanted to flash back to a time in the toy department where they were doing something naughty, maybe they weren't even supposed to be there. Maybe they were. It's fine. They might be able to figure out who the consultants were or remember seeing them.
But I'll tell you what, seeing as like Plum mentioned about his consultant, I completely forgot about them being so fixed on that it must have been the logistics. Always don't trust those logistics lot. I'll have a random memory flashback come to bear. And it's going through the toy department, like joining, and I'm walking alongside Kringle Sugar Nog. And it's like, there's a secret kind of passing of sweet packets between the two of us in exchange for some eggnog as well. And it's like, seeing the consultants kind of go by and just quickly hiding and like, who's that?
Oh, that's Walter Burgermeister. He's a consultant who came in from I don't know where. Like he's helping us make the toys better. I never understand. Like it seems like anytime like the big man goes to one of these like existential like creature conferences, he comes back. He's got new ideas about ways we can restructure or reorganize or do things. But look, everybody wants to be in Santa's workshop. Like people who work for the Tooth Fairy, they don't want to work for the Tooth Fairy. They want to work here. Like people who work for the Easter Bunny, they don't want to work for the Easter Bunny. They want to, like, I don't understand why he goes to those things unless he's giving the keynote.
I mean, yeah, working with like falling out teeth and picking up rabbit droppings is not very fun when you have a snowball fight every single day.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why are we taking advice from them? Anyways, he went to one of those. He came back. He wanted to bring in this Burgermeister. There's like them between him and like 2 or 3 other people, but apparently the bid level was like super low and like basically cost nothing for him to come in.
Right. It's a bit odd he's coming around this time again. Not quite sure how I feel about that. Flashback to the car. like, now you mention it, Plum, this consultant kind of came back, apparently did some work, was at this, extraterrestrial creatures convention that the big man goes to every now and then. Like a burger miser type deal. I don't know, it sounds German. Sounds German.
I don't trust it. I've got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get why they got another consultant again. Like, don't know. He's got to be towards the front, right?
Ah, man, I don't even know if he's on the train. I just know Giggle had the same feeling that I had. I don't honestly trust Kringle very much. And Buddy, if push comes to shove, I don't know if our companions are going to be able to pull their own weight. We're going to have to handle this together, my friend.
Well, let's not get on about Kringle. I mean, yeah, don't trust him, but he's got his uses. As I like shuffle one of the pockets aside, and it's like, the period's over, right? Like the job's done. He must be going back, eager to get back. Consultants always are. He's got his.
Giggle said they loaded a single briefcase and maybe a few personal items onto the train, but he didn't even know why they stayed to the evening, man. I don't know, Buddy. I think we've got to find them.
First class?
Or second or third. I mean, you know this train. This train could be 5 carriages one day and 17 the next. We're just going to have to keep moving forward.
I agree. I think, where's the others at? Look at... just looking back going, oh, God.
Just knocking over.
Listen again.
Darren's moving really slowly and like doing the whole like that, and as he's doing that, just knocking over chairs, tables are clattering, cutlery is falling everywhere.
Like everyone has moved to the other side of the room. No one wants to. Like all those tables have been abandoned. So y'all wave him over.
Yeah, as Dur will approach Buddy and Plum and just sort of like shift his sunglasses a little bit and be like, nailed it.
So I wanna pull Dur down like kind of to my eye level a little bit, and sort of be like, Dur, come here, let me. And I'm checking the horn, and I look over at Aaronell and Buddy, and I say, I'll stay here. Y'all go see what's in the next carriage.
I give him a knowing nod, and as Buddy and I had to walk away, I lean over to him and quietly. Right, well, I lean over to him. I know I'm new here, but how did Dirk get into this group?
You know, I just work in like the holiday chair. The whole stuff thing's your business. I guess distraction duty. I'm just gonna keep walking.
I'm gonna also spend the time as they're moving on to show or at least communicate the best I can to Dur how the candy cane works. That it can turn into a sharp object, that it can be used to hit people, just in case he needs it.
Okay, so you're giving him the basics of how to destroy somebody with a military grade candy cane.
I'm running him through the operating use of a military grade candy.
Right, how to clean it, how to follow the sight line, how to
Load all of that.
Okay.
Dur is absolutely fascinated and just watching as Plum shows how to change this candy cane. He thinks it's like magic. It's like, ooh, wow. So cool.
As the two of you, as the other two of you step out through the door to the next train, you get hit by that normal hit of wind that you normally do, but you guys can tell that you're about halfway through the trip now as you smell the distant aroma of swirly twirly gumdrops as you guys start to pass through a sea surrounded by them. You can smell that in the air, and you know that's halfway to the edge of the North Pole's zone of effect and the outer rim. And so you guys know that time is starting to run out. But this is actually an open air car, though. This is a large cargo loader. And so there's a lot of times the bigger goods that are inbound or outbound are brought in on cars like this. And it looks like you guys can see Santa's sleigh in front of you, strapped down, along with a couple other large items. At least it appears to be Santa's sleigh. But it looks like it's going out for its annual maintenance check from the third-party provider who does some of the different mechanical components that aren't run by Christmas Spirit.
Anna, what's the chances of him hiding that thing on there?
It's worth checking out.
Do we have time?
I'll just give it a real quick run through. I'll just hop on up there, and I'm just gonna open up whatever opens. And I mean, I have a little bit of. Go ahead.
Have a quick rummage, and I'm going to see if this Burger Man is up ahead. And I'm going to just leave him to it and move on to the next cart.
Okay. So I like how you guys have gotten all spread out. So Arnell, you as you get close to it, go ahead and make this not, I mean, it doesn't, you're not doing anything other than just checking. Go ahead and make a nice roll for me.
All right. That is a 5.
So all of a sudden, as you get close to the sled, you all of a sudden can't see anything, and your tongue goes numb, and you all of a sudden are lost in just kind of a haze. We'll come back to you in just one second. So, buddy, as you move forward, you're moving forward into the next car.
Yeah, I'm moving forward. I'm trying to find like
how quickly are you going?
I'm picking up a pace a little bit, like a brisk jog.
Okay. So all of a sudden, Arnell, when you go blind, what do you do?
All right. So I have a little bit of experience in some of this being disillusioned or not having my wits about me, and I do my best to calm myself down and realize this is a security system. I guarantee that's what's happening right now. And I just, as best I can, stumble backwards away from it, trying to get back to fresh air.
All right, cool. So you make your way into the next car, buddy, and it is the first class passenger car. Like this is, it's double decker. The seats are spread out more. There is a spiraling staircase going up in the middle. There are, you actually recognize Kris Kringle's, the big man's daughter, is up front. It looks like she's headed out for the season also too. Maybe going to meet with toy companies. You know, she does a lot of kind of big deals with a lot of the people that you guys do R&D for. But she's on this train. You feel maybe a little starstruck. But this is the largest car and longest car that you have entered so far. What do you do?
I take a step towards her, like straight my hand, go, no, Zach, take a step back, look over. I got a couple of minutes. Gotta find my bag. I'm just going to quickly just meander through the compartments. I'm going to try and spot if I can recognize Walter Burgermeister amongst the crowds.
Okay. All right. Tell me where and how you're looking. Are you on the bottom, the top? Where are you at?
Is it so? It's like the bottom, like open towards the top. So it's kind of like, I guess, like kind of apartment blocks, or is it like two separate sealed?
It's two, like you can go back. There's a staircase, like imagine like a double decker bus, but bigger. Yeah. So you can go up and down between the two levels, but you can't see from one to the other easily.
Okay, and is there like a kind of there's like a lot of shorter creatures on like the lower level or the top level? Or
nope, it's a total mix. Yeah, it's got plenty of head clearance.
Well, I'll start at the bottom and just like kind of hands in pockets, just casually walking through like I belong in the place, try and fit in.
Okay. Excellent. We'll come back to you in just 1 second.
I'll tell you how my thumb's like kind of hooked in like the new shiny belt I've got.
Excellent. So we've fleshed it. So yeah, you get out of the Christmas. You get out of you back up a little bit, and your sight returns. Your senses come back, and you are able to see again once you get about 4 feet away from the sled. All right, what are you doing?
I'm gonna do kind of a 360 as best I can around, looking for where that may have come from. If there's any other similar markings or contraptions or anything in the sleigh that may be triggering it. I'm basically looking for a way to get a little closer to it without triggering this.
Yeah, so there's a winch arm that is nearby that has a lot of different controls on it that they use to bring things on and off. It's the only thing that you see that kind of stands out to you, other than, like I said, there's a couple large crates, there's the sleigh, but there's not much else on this level other than that control panel.
All right, well, that's where I'm heading.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to get this arm centered over the sleigh, lower it down, climb it, and shimmy down the chain or rope or whatever it is that's
it's like a winch arm. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds not particularly naughty. Do you want to make a nice roll for that?
All right. This is a 2.
Okay, what's your stat?
It's 3 and 3.
Okay, so you're going to move 1 point up in nice, 1 point down in naughty. You're able to make the winch up. As you start to get about halfway down that rope, you can start to feel that same effect start to take hold, though. Like you don't go dark, but you can feel that kind of drop in senses as you get a little bit closer to the sled.
Okay. I don't have any tools in my tool bag here that can deal with this kind of thing. What I need to find, I'm gonna have to retreat a little bit from this, and
You could always flash back as well.
Yeah.
right. I'm trying to think of a time when I may have had. I don't think I've had a lot of experience with the sleigh, but.
So you can flash back to the sleigh. You can flash back to grabbing something earlier. You can flash back to your mentor explaining how this went system or whatever. I mean, like, it's really up to you. Like, the flashbacks are one of your most powerful mechanics for telling the story. So think broadly about what might be helpful for you.
Well, I remember when I came out of secondary school, I tried to get into the Polar Fire Brigade, and I went through a lot of training. I was in the Arctic Fire 1 and 2, and there was some good stuff there. Now, we did have to do an emergency course on how to respond to a sleigh accident. As crazy as that might sound, that was some of our training and things of that sort. Now I have to go think back. It's been a few years, and I didn't make it. I couldn't cut it there in that service, and that's how I ended up here.
What particularly naughty thing did you do that washed you out of the Polar Fire Brigade?
Oh, goodness gracious. Do I have to tell this story again? So they take it very, very seriously, right? And I was not the most, I come from a pretty well-to-do family, kind of spoiled, and we had PT.
Used to pick on yetis in high school.
Well, I'm a better person today, but so we were running. We had to take the hose line, and we, 5 of us with a hose line connecting a big circle, and we had to run, and we have to catch the team in front of us, and we're running, and the whole idea is to try to get some team building and all that stuff. Well, I was just getting exhausted. I didn't want to do it anymore, so I, as the guy in front of me was running, swept a foot, and down the whole team went, and even though we got disqualified and dressed down and everything like that, I thought it was a pretty clever way of getting out of more running. Apparently, some of the officers seen it. They didn't like it, pulled me aside, and that's what led to me eventually being asked, hey, maybe this isn't for you.
Okay. So, and what is that insight is that giving you to your current situation?
Well, that's how I washed out. But when we were doing previous weeks there in that process there, we were actually doing some training on sleigh emergency response. And I do remember that there was, it's kind of what triggered the thought of, hey, there's security systems on here. And there are some, various ways in which you can, respond to a downed sleigh or, something of, whatever it might happen, an emergency that the deer have, and we've got to render aid to the deer. I'm just having a hard time remembering the specifics of what it was about that sleigh that.
So you remember that Santa's sleigh, one of the major defensive mechanisms that has is what is oftentimes referred to as an anti-Christmas spirit field. And so for polar denizens, for people who aren't from the North Pole, for normal folk, it basically keeps them from being able to see it if there is an accident when it goes down. However, polar denizens need to be able to locate it. So the effect doesn't hit them until they are in very close proximity, and it has a tendency to overwhelm their senses. And so what's happening to you is that it's triggering that, and so you'll need to find a way to deactivate it.
Okay.
And they did teach you how to do. They did teach you how to do that in training. Like you did learn how to do that. But it's. Go ahead.
A red lever somewhere or a valve of some sort that needs to be triggered.
Yeah, it's on the underside of the sleigh. And the reason you had to train on it is because you have to be able to do it without the benefit of sight.
So I am going to position myself, 5 feet away or so, take some very, very deep breaths, and then take a final deep breath, hold my breath, and just start sliding under there, using my hands up above me to feel the bottom of the sleigh, trying to get oriented and see if I can't find this lever before I run out of my air.
Okay, so you do need to move for the narrating of the scene. The cost is also moving a point from nice to naughty, so you do need to make sure you do that. However, you as you kind of slide underneath there, you do find that lever, and as you try to operate it, go ahead and make a roll for me. I would say, since this is not an actual rescue attempt, this does feel more like breaking into a car. So go ahead and make a naughty roll for me.
All right. Naughty roll. A 3.
Okay, what's your score on naughty right now?
I am a 3 and a 3.
Okay, so you succeed. So you had to make at or below. Okay. So that's a success. So move 1 point from nice over to naughty now. So you were able to bring the Christmas spirit field down, and your sight returns, your feelings return, everything else returns. We'll come back to you in just 1 second. So Plum and Durr have fully gone over all the different functions of the military grade candy cane baton.
I went through it 2.5 times. The first time because he was needed to know. The second time because he was fascinated. The third time because he'd forgot the first 2 times.
Right.
So at this point, I'm a little bit exasperated. I just show him that the blunt end can be used to hit someone. I describe that thoroughly enough. And I want to take.
Durr's like, oh, Durr smash.
And
Durr love to smash.
And we've seen, but stealthily smash Durr. This is remember your training.
And Durr, when he's describing how to smash, he asks you to think of the person from high school who bullied you the most, and all of a sudden you remember that picture in your mind's eye. Arnell, what does your character look like again?
Oh no.
Just this.
Not now, but in high school.
Right. No, I was an athlete. I played elf football, and just very well
captain of a jock team. Captain of a snowball team.
You could find me in the gym at any given day. I got out of class. The teachers all seemed to love me for some reason. I was very memorable that way, especially with the dimples. Yeah.
You remember this, Durr, you remember this deeply dimpled, jacked athlete elf who used to pick on you mercilessly as you go through a couple basic swings of the military grade baton.
Right.
So I have heard no commotion coming from the other room. basically wrapped up what I wanted to do, and just in terms of settle things down a touch. You know, the cars turn back to normal. Most of the people are back to playing board games, I assume, like not really paying attention to us that much. I wanna glance around at the tables nearby. I'm looking for a board game that would contain a large amount of dice. So I wanna look around for that, and then I wanna head out.
Okay. There's actually a dice dispenser on the side of the car, so that if dice go missing, they can do it. Now, if you want to take one from the table, you can, but if you want to take them from the dice dispenser, you can also.
I'd like to take one from the dice dispenser.
Okay. What kind of dice are you taking from the dice dispenser?
I'm just looking for a normal D6.
Okay.
And I just want to the big red button, kind of like a candy dispenser. I just like jam my fist against it.
Yeah, and it rains out dice. Like it's meant to be like a touch thing, right? But
Okay.
you hit it and you hit it a little bit again, and it jams a little bit, and then like a bunch of dice just drop out.
I'm opening up one leg of my tights.
Okay.
And I just want to fill that with like 20 dice.
So you create a bulge in your tights with 20 d6s.
In the leg.
In the leg.
All down next to my ankle. Right?
Okay. In the bottom of the dice, and you want all the dice in the bottom of your tights. Got it.
Yep.
Got it. You got it. So y'all make your way out. As you make your way out, you see Arnell underneath the something that looks conspicuously like Santa's sleigh, fiddling with a couple of levers, and you hear kind of this low hum in the background that then all of a sudden drops as you smell the smell of freshly baked gumdrops cooling all around you as you look out across a sea of swirly twirly gumdrops. What do you do?
Sure.
So I see that Arnell.
Air that's good.
We're getting closer.
I guess Dur wants to help out. I can see Arnell struggling a little bit down there. Gonna have a closer look and see what's going on.
Yeah. So you, what do you want to do? You walk up. You walk up to the sleigh. I mean, you gonna pick up the sleigh. What do you want to do?
I can see that. I guess I can see Arnell is like underneath, sort of fiddling around. So Dara's just gonna bend down and lift up the sleigh so that Arnell can get a better look underneath.
So you pick it up. It heaves kind of into the air, and Arnell, as you are kind of finally powering everything down, you heard some people kind of come out the door behind you. Then a second later, the sleigh like lifts up, feet above you in the air, and you see Dur's face above there.
Dara helps.
Thanks, Dur. You can put this down now. I've got this under control.
Okay. So
And I'll roll out next to Dur.
And Dur, I guess Dur will be okay then, and he's just gonna let it go.
Okay. Let's flash back to the first class car. You are kind of making your way around. You make your way through most of the bottom level. You kind of get close to Christina Claus a couple of times, but then, like you said, you kind of think about saying something, decide not to say something. You're making your way to the back to make your way up the stairs to the second level, and you hear somebody on that second level saying these words: tickets please, please have your tickets out, to be checked, thank you. And you hear click 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 as somebody is going through and checking tickets for the first class cabin. What do you do?
Is this coming from in front of me or behind me?
It's coming from upstairs, and so they are, but it sounds like they are headed your direction. They're going to be coming down the stairs in just a second.
Oh, that is there more than one way upstairs, or
It does look like there's another staircase up towards the front also too.
is there anyone else on the stairway with me?
Not currently.
Same time?
No.
Currently. Can I just take a quick peek around the corner to see how busy this corridor's looking?
The one on the top or the one down below?
One at the top.
As you look up, it looks like there are less people on the second level. It looks like it's not quite as packed as the spaces you've been so far on the train. You do see what looks like an elderly old man up towards the front of the train. You see it looks like a family about halfway back. And as you kind of look up, you see that there is a ticket taker who is coming towards this set of stairs right now.
I want to flash back to our team meeting real quick.
Yeah.
Where I very thoroughly, with the rest of the group, went through the list of things that we needed to have in preparation for this ride home. And I realized that in the pocket of my vest, I see the car in front of us. I know which car that is the moment I see it. The double-decker, the raised rails, the spiral. I mean, it's first class, to boot. And I realized that in the pocket of my vest, I have 4 unstamped, unmarked, registered tickets for tonight's train ride.
All right.
I have them.
I'm glad they're in your pocket.
I wasn't trying to be helpful. I was just trying to make sure I was prepared.
Go ahead and move 1 point from nice to naughty for that. Even though that wasn't particularly naughty, the meta of it absolutely was. I love it. All right, so buddy, they are taking the last ticket of the passenger at the very back and headed your way. What do you do?
In my inside pocket, and I reach inside. It's just sticky, kind of warm, gummy. I was like,
the aroma of cinnamon wafts up at you.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, Vixen, and I just shove it back down the stairs and just try and scurry my way to the other stairway, with just ducking and weaving in between people.
Go ahead and make a nimble roll to see if you make it across, or if you bump into somebody. Do what? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you get a benefit from being an elf. This sounds pretty naughty to me. You're trying to avoid the ticket taker on the train.
Yeah, cool. I got a 4 and a 5.
What's your stat?
My stat's a 3.
Well, you can flash back if you want to think about how you prepared for this moment.
I'm trying to think how I'd do it. Yeah, all right. So as I'm kind of ducking and weaving, my mind's just I'm not going quick enough. There's too many people in my way. And kind of flash back at briefly. And it's I'm in the part, we're kind of just as they're distracted by the table. Plum's talking about the tickets, and I just I'll probably have it in my pocket a minute. Not completely forgetting to take it from him. I'm just I've got one shoe just off on my kind of just filling around of it, and one of the laces I just got really old and kind of fell apart. So I was replacing one of the laces, and I was I didn't want this one to come unloose, so it's extra long boot laces. And as I kind of come out to go, it was falling apart. I'm just going to grab it and just rip it off my shoe and just flick it under someone's ankle and trip them in the way to slow down the people behind me as I just keep scurrying forward and hoping they don't notice me.
And it's an excellent flashback to that exact same moment.
Reminding myself tickets.
So absolutely. So you bump up to 4 and naughty and 2 and nice, and you are able to pull someone backwards and have them trip and fall and kind of make a little bit of chaos behind you. As you get to that first stairwell and start halfway up, that old man who was in the front is starting to slowly, using a cane, make his way down the stairs. We're going to come back to you in just 1 second. What is everybody outside doing?
I'm explaining to them what I found here, and Buddy's gone ahead to scout. I'm trying to get take a look at this.
The moment you say that, I say Christmas Kringle, and I start walking towards the main cabin.
Whoa! We only get one of those per broadcast.
So
Doris
So
goes
I tell Jer,
scouting ahead. That's what I'm best at. And he just bolts straight for the cabin.
You didn't even. So you're with the sled still.
I kind of breathe a sigh of relief, and I go, all right, I can check this out of my own now. I'll just hurry up and go through this thing as thoroughly as I can, remembering all the nooks and crannies of the sleigh that we had gone through when I was in the fire academy, and see if I can't find this bag. It seems like a perfect spot to smuggle a bag out.
You do actually, as the anti-Christmas spirit field comes down, see a bag in the middle of the back seat of the sleigh. It looks like just a small backpack, the kind that would easily be carried, something you could easily carry onto a train. What do you do?
I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna see what's in it.
Okay. As you start to go through it, you find a couple different items in there. The number one thing you notice is that there's a pair of star hanger rocket boots. You know that a lot of people use these just to get that star right where you need it on the top of the tree, especially at the North Pole when they're so tall and you're so short. But these will actually get you a pretty long distance also too if an individual needs to traverse kind of difficult terrain. It's a fast way to do it. So you find a pair of star hanger rocket boots in there, and then you find a set of snowflake throwing stars in there also too, along with a few other personal effects clothes, some other things like that. But it definitely strikes you as someone's go bag. It looks like somebody would have stashed this here as a way to maybe potentially quickly get off the train.
You have no papers or anything? Did I find any papers?
You don't find anything that's necessarily an identifier, but you do find something that says 2020 Existential Creature Consulting.
All right, I'm gonna put that that backpack. I'm gonna put it on, and I'm gonna head towards. If Durr and Plum are not off this car yet, I'm gonna nimbly, as quickly as I can, rush up to them, and I want to let them know what I found.
I mean, that sounds pretty nice. Go ahead and make a nimble and influenced roll, see if you can catch them before they get to the next car.
All right. So I'm at a 2 and a 4, and I actually rolled a 2 and a 4. So my nice is 2 and my naughty's 4.
Well, that means you're going to succeed no matter what. It's like it was a nice roll, so you're going to move one from naughty to nice. But yeah, you're able to catch up with them as they're getting to the door. As fast as Plum was headed, he was just opening it, and you're able to catch up with him at that moment.
All right, I look right at Plum and say, Plum, yeah, I found this backpack here, and this is belonging to a consultant. It was on Santa's sleigh. I don't know why it's there. Very clearly a go bad. There's some items here that we could probably use, and I think the big man would want us to have them if we're, considering what we're doing here. I want to hand this off to you, and I'm going to go turn that force field back on, or the security system back on in that sleigh, and I'll meet you in the car from.
I look at the document. I see the 2020 consultant thing. I just dag nab it, toss that kind of off the side of the cart because it's just a piece of paper. And then I start going through the bag again. What is it that he just handed me one more time? I've got those star hanger boots.
Star hanger rocket boots, and it's a
throwing stars.
Snowflake throwing stars.
Okay. And then it's just a backpack.
A backpack, and yes, as a change of clothes in it, and it has some documents from 2020 consulting.
Okay.
It
doesn't have those documents anymore.
No, I remind him someone may recognize that bag too, so just be aware of our stealth training.
All of a sudden you flash back, Plum, and you realize you got a training notice. And you just thought it was like general HR stuff, but that's probably the day they explained the whole stealth thing, and you just blew it off.
Do I recognize? Is the clothing familiar at all?
You looking at it. It doesn't strike you as it strikes you as especially nondescript, like a lot of grays and browns. It actually doesn't look fancy. It looks more like a set of overalls, but it looks like if you were going to walk around and try to kind of blend in to a drab background, it's 100% what you would wear, which means nothing an elf would ever be caught dead in.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. Are they elf size? Can I get a read on who, what type of creature might be wearing these?
They look full grown human sized.
Oh, so they're like 17 of me.
Right.
And this backpack's also a little problematic. I'm not actually able to carry this backpack, so I'm going to hand it off to Dur. But I'm going to remove the throwing stars. I still have that Candy Cane spear on my back.
Right. But now you've also got some Snowflake Hay throwing stars.
Yeah, I tuck those. So I've got one leg with dice in it. I tuck the Snowflake Hay throwing stars. One of them is in one of my vest pockets that doesn't have the tickets. And then the other ones are just kind of around my waist. So
Right.
they're just like pressed up against me.
Okay. So, so you guys get that squared away. Dur kind of like, you have to loosen the straps a little bit, but he's able to get it around his giant hulking Yeti frame. And you guys head into the car. You see there's a bunch of chaos as you come in. Somebody has just fallen down in the middle of the aisle, and you kind of catch a quick glimpse of Buddy as they are headed up the far side stairs up to the second level of this.
Buddy!
Just scurry away.
Buddy, you are you at that point as you disappear around the corner.
I need.
You almost bump in and knock over this old man with a walking cane who is coming down the stairs at the same time as you. Be careful there, young man. Where are you headed in such a hurry?
So, did you see him?
See who?
Someone is trying to disrupt Christmas and is throwing carnage down there, tripping people up. I swear I saw him right up here.
Someone should tell the conductor. You should take care of that, or I mean, what should I do?
Well, I think the conductor is following me. If you just want to go explain to him and just tell him everything you can. He was kind of, I swear he was not an elf. He was taller, blonde hair. He actually looked quite clean and it was really weird. He's very out of place, but he's trying something, I swear. You go explain to him. I'll keep chasing and trying to find him. I'm just going to keep going past him.
Okay. So you slip up. You see the ticket taker coming down at that moment. Plum, and tickets, sir?
Coming down towards us.
Yeah, he just came down the stairs right beside you as you come in that back door. Tickets, sir?
Oh yeah, I fumble in my pocket, pull out 4 tickets, and leaf through 2, and kind of point over at Dur as well.
Oh, okay. And then he clicks each one of them. And he is, you guys headed, down and back, or just one-way trip today?
Just one-way trip. Holidays over for a bit. You know how it is.
Oh, I know how it is. We've got 2 more runs we've got to make, and then I'm off also too. Well, good luck to you. We'll see you in a few weeks.
No, I was actually, Giggle sent me up here. I was actually looking for Kringle. Have you seen Kringle? Toy department, right? Have you seen him?
Yeah, I checked his ticket earlier. I think he's up on the second level.
Second? Oh, thank you so much.
Towards the front.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate it.
Okay. And he kind of keeps on going, and he's helping people up. You see this kind of old man come down the stairs, and he's walking up and talking to the steward for the first class car. What do you do?
Dur, you're with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make my way back up the stairs, and I know what Kringle looks like, and I also know that Kringle knows what I look like, and so I want to stay as out of sight as possible while still trying to get a read on just the people that are in the room. I'm looking for 3 people. Looking for 2 people. I'm looking for Kringle, and I'm looking to see if there's someone that is wearing, like, an adult human wearing kind of maybe placid or gray clothes, just something that seems a little out of place.
Okay.
And
Because I haven't met Walter before.
To help Plum out, Dur turns to Plum and he's like, "Don't worry, Plum. I'll scout ahead." And he sort of gestures for Plum to hide behind his towering frame, so that you're not in sight as you're inconspicuously having a look around.
Perfect.
And,
I wanna stealthily follow behind the leg of Dur.
And did you guys go up, or are you guys staying on the first level, or just making your way through?
We're going up. We're going
Going
up.
up. Okay. So you guys make your way up. You get up there. Like I said, you see there's a few people in the back. There's a family halfway down. It's actually, as you look halfway down, you do, at least Dur can easily recognize that it is the Sugar Nog family headed down to Boca after a long Christmas. Dad's been especially stressed. Dad still looks pretty stressed because he's got 3 elf kids kind of jumping around, running back and forth in the aisles. Christmas may be great for everybody else, but in the Sugar Nog household and a lot of the North Pole, it's just a busy time of year. And so they're looking forward to the next couple of days off.
I want to flashback. So Kringles knows who I am, but I also know, I want to flash back to a moment where I've actually, my kids have grown up with his kids, like our wives eat dinner together. I mean, we have a history, right? And so if he's here with his family, I know that Mrs. Sugar Nog is as friendly as can be, and we have a rapport and everything. And so I'm just gonna approach. I'm just gonna walk up, say hi to Mrs. Sugar Nog, pat the kids on the head, and I'm sitting down right next to him.
Oh, Plum Puddin', it's so good to see you.
Miss Sugar Nog, how's the Christmas season go for you?
Oh, I mean, thank goodness it's over. You know how it is. He was at work all day long.
Those fudge squares you baked, Elaine, I gotta be honest, they got me through it.
Well, bless your heart. I appreciate it. It's my grandma's recipe. It's, she's still around. She makes them half the time, but she taught me she's good. She's good. She's retired now. That's why we're going down to Boca. We're going to go visit her.
Her and Mrs. Claus. I remember when they hosted, you remember it had to have been 20 some ago. They hosted that Christmas Eve party for everyone. Oh my gosh.
I do. She was head of the holiday cheer department for 300 years before she retired. Some people said she could have gone on another 200 or 300, but
she could have gone on. She's still baking fudge for almost it's half the clan?
almost everybody. I mean, that's the thing. She makes it for one person. She says, "Oh, that's all I'm going to do," but then she feels bad because she just goes and goes and goes and makes it for almost everybody.
I've never met a woman or a family with so much holiday and Christmas cheer. And at that moment, when I say Christmas cheer, I want to glance over both when I talk about Mrs. Claus and when I talk about Christmas cheer and just get a read on Kringle.
When you say Christmas cheer, you don't notice necessarily any particular response, but go ahead and make a roll and let's see if you get a response when you talk about Mrs. Claus.
Okay. And is this is a nice roll. I'm
You're being nice. Yeah. I feel like you're not approaching this in a threatening manner.
Solid one. And I
crit.
I have 2 in nice. I have 2 in nice. Yeah, that's a crit.
1 is good when you have 2 in a stat. Yeah. So go ahead and move 1 from naughty to nice. And yeah, you when he says Mrs. Claus, you see his kind of the color leave his face a little bit, and you see his agitation kind of rise. He starts patting the seat in front of him. He gets a little bit nervous. Hey, Timmy, come on, sit. And he calls one of his kids back over. I know you're excited. I know I'm excited too. I'm glad Christmas is over, but it's still a hard time of the year for some people. We've just got to get through a couple more days and then we'll be in Boca and things will be great. We'll see your grandma. It's gonna be nice, but we just got to make it through the next few days.
As Kringle speaks up, I kind of direct all my attention to him, and I say, Kringle, it's been a rough season, hasn't it?
Oh man, you don't even know. I thought you were going to leave till next week. Where's the family?
No, family's staying for another week. They have a little bit of cleanup to do. If I'm going to be honest, man, my job's been a little rocky. Can you believe I thought I was an elf on the shelf?
I wasn't going to say anything. I tried to drop some hints. Remember when I said
Jingle didn't point it out either. I was wearing bright clothing this entire holiday season. I had no idea.
Yeah, look, you've got to go to training. It's not we don't just, when we move people from one department to another, there's a whole like reset of like skills and other things you've got to get accustomed to.
Well, I mean, Kringle, you know me. I did my job well. It just wasn't the job that I thought I had. Speaking of that, though, man, I saw Jingle earlier this week.
Yeah.
What's going on? It's been what, a decade now? He's been thinking about taking over for a bit. Why hasn't?
I mean, like, it's just not time yet. You know, we've got probably, I mean, it's honestly probably going to be another 2 decades. Like, not, and it's not against, like, you know, Giggle. It's not,
Sure.
it's not a problem. Like,
Sure.
It's not like we've been giving them
them
more and more responsibility. Like, that's why they're doing the checkouts now. Like, we're prepping it. It's all in process. But like, we're not financially at a place where I mean, look at the kids. They're still young. Like, we've got to at least get them through, you know, Elf High School. Hopefully they don't get picked on mercilessly like you know, some other people do there. And so we just got to keep up a certain class of
I hear you.
class of living.
If you just went into the commercial market for that fudge that you know, that Miss Sugar Nod's grandmother makes, Darla. I mean, and
We've
I kinda
talked
give a
about
winking-
it.
I give a winking nod and smile over to Miss Sugar Nod, and then I turn my attention back to him and I say, what's up with the productivity this year though? I mean,
It's stable, like same as always. Like
but they won it up by 3%.
I mean, no, they 3% is like the dream, right? Like Giggle brought in the 3%, like
Sure.
almost 1,000 years ago now,
About
right?
1,000
Giggle brought in,
years ago,
Giggle brought in the 3%. Like that bump was huge. It's why they're obviously the choice to take over. I just like, I don't know what they like. He went to that conference. He talked to this guy. He was like, you know, this could be the biggest year ever. Like,
Walter, right? He talked with Walter for a bit.
Walter, yeah, like came through and was gonna fix everything, and you know, like I just like I'll be honest, like I was worried productivity was gonna drop. Like I didn't nothing that this guy brought in seemed worth it at all. It was just stressing everybody out. Like everybody like was being driven out of their mind by the changes this guy was forcing us to make, and I just
What I mean, you guys are like an operating machine, though. Cogs and oil and Christmas cheer.
Right.
I mean, changes are going to throw this off.
Right.
What was he having y'all do?
like he was trying to get people to do like remote work. Like I don't like we all live in the North Pole. Like what is going on there? Like he was talking about like sick days repeatedly. Like there was a whole thing with like toilet paper usage for one point. Like there was like no one could find any toilet paper for a little while. Like it was crazy the changes this guy like, and they didn't make sense, and they certainly did. Like honestly, like half the people just ignored it.
Interesting. I want to get a read on if I think Kringle's just stressed or if he's untrustworthy.
Okay.
Uh,
I mean that
so-
sounds nice to me. Like you're not. Yeah. I mean.
Okay. I just want to, you know, I got a 6.
You can't tell.
No kidding. Do I still move a dial, or is it only on a success that I move a
It's only on a success, one way or the other.
Okay. Oh, I can't get a read on what's going on here. I'm gonna be even more direct. I kind of look him in the eye. I pause for a little bit, and then I'm like, you know, man, I just don't trust it when outsiders come in.
Look, I mean, like, it's not, you know, we've got seasonal workers. They're great. Like, I love them. Like, we need them.
No,
We can't,
yeah, but
I mean,
they're part of our family. I'm talking
yeah.
corporate. I'm talking, you know.
yeah, this
long
guy's,
goes
this
to
guy's
these
a part
things.
of Christmas culture. Like, you know, he doesn't know, like, I don't even know that he likes Christmas. Like, I mean, that's, you know, like, he just was constantly talking about, like, especially, like, the first, like, 6 months, like, it wasn't, like, it was dumb, and we hated it, but like it was manageable. And then the last month, he's like, we're running out of time. Like, we know. Like, dude was like, I mean, you could watch this guy almost get older right in front of you. And I just like, it was like honestly, we worked harder just to get him out the door. Like all the changes we were making was a headache. We worked harder just to get him out the door. And like, I'm so glad that it's over. Like it's just, I'm.
Are they out? Are they leaving now?
Yeah, like I saw him on the train, like just a little while ago. Like he just went downstairs a second ago.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
I pat one of the kids on the head. You know, give Miss Sugarnod a kind of kiss on the forehead, and tell Kringle, like, man, it's gonna get better. And trust and Giggle a little bit more, man. I mean, I know he's still fresh. I know he's young. He's only been around for about 1,500 years, but he could do it. He's good at what he does.
Like again, heir apparent. Like I absolutely. I 100% agree. Like I've written it in. It's happening. Like when they come back, we'll sit down. We'll have a conversation. Like I said, I can't retire. Yeah, we got the kids, but maybe we can start looking at maybe I could transfer over to Holiday Cheer. We could give the fudge a go. Like just create some space. I'll see what I can do.
I'm going to start moving towards the back of this caboose, and I want to go back downstairs, looking for that old man.
Yeah. So you see, as you get down there, are you going down the front stairs or the back stairs? Is it back towards the caboose?
We came up the back stairs. I'm going to go down the front stairs.
Okay. So you're going down the front stairs. And we've got, Dur in front of you. We've got, Buddy, what are you doing?
Have I seen them like?
Yeah, as you came back up the stairs, you came into this conversation. Then we've got Ernell, who's outside, getting everything reset.
Reset as back to undisturbed appearance as much as possible, and then rejoining and coming through. I would have started right at the first level, not thinking they would have went up to the second level yet. So,
and. Can I flash back?
Sure.
I did not know who Walter Bergenster was until Kringle pointed out. Like I now think it's the old man. I don't know if it is the old man, but I think it's the old man. And so I want to flash back to we were watching and observing the train over the past 3 or 4 days, trying to get a sense of what was going to be loaded and what was going to be put off and put on, and trying to, I probably spent some time with Giggle along the way as he was going through the documents and just checking on boxes that were coming on. And I remember the old man. Do I remember him having I don't know if he's tied to this at all, but I'm now targeting the old man. So I remember that old man, and I want to remember if he loaded any luggage onto the train.
You don't remember him loading any. You do, as you flash back. Well, if you want to remember something, go ahead and make a roll, for me.
Okay. 4, I fail. I just remember that old man.
Just remember that old man. You do remember he was around a couple times. You don't remember what that was or any of the specific circumstances around it, but you do know he was around a couple times during the loading. And so Aaron, you got everything set. You're coming back in. You said you're making your way along the bottom.
Right, I'm making my way along the bottom, looking for Buddy, Dur, and Plum. And as I come in through the entrance, I room, and I recognize a gentleman over, and I couldn't think of his name, but I recognize a gentleman from my wealthy family. My mom, my family, many generations ago, they've been running the Christmas newsletter, and they get enormous amounts of donations, and there's advertising, and there's just a whole big, thing. And one of the gentlemen that over the last month that's been in my mom's office as I've gone to visit her a few times is sitting right down over there. And I know him by face, but I'm just not sure exactly who he is. So I'm going to say hello and see if he doesn't recognize me as well.
Okay.
So I remember you. I think you were in my mom, I can't even think of the names here now. Ernell Sugar Plum. I don't know what my name is, but I think you know my mom. You've been putting a lot of ads and content in the newsletter, haven't you? Are
you looking to be talking to Walter Burgermeister, or are you just?
Yeah, I'm looking. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, so he's finishing up a conversation with the steward and turns to kind of head away, and you come. Oh, your mother. She who is she again?
She runs the newsletter, the main paper that goes throughout the North Pole. It's got all the ads and the news of the day and the editorials.
Yeah, the Polar Times. I think I came through a couple times, but I mean, we didn't really run any ads. I was just, we were just kind of keeping up on what was happening. You have to stay up on current events. Especially in busy and important times. Who did you say you were again?
Oh, I'm just her son. I just heading home for the holidays, and thought I saw a friendly face and
oh well, thank you so much. I don't often get that response. I appreciate it. The steward told me that I should go talk to the conductor about something. A young man told me that someone was knocking people over and that we should let someone know. So I'm going to go head up to the engine to let him know. I'm not entirely sure why they couldn't tell someone, but thank you so much.
If you want, I'll go ahead. I'll take care of that for you.
Oh, do you know what happened?
Yeah, I saw some commotion back there. It was a big, tall guy. I think he was a yeti or something like that. I'm not sure, but I can go let the conductor know.
Oh, the gentleman told me it was a blonde man. It must be something different. Why don't you tell the steward about the yeti?
Okay, I'll do that.
And he makes his way starts to make his way out of the compartment. As y'all are coming down the front steps, y'all miss. You can feel the wind from the door as it just shuts right behind him. And you are all relatively near each other again for the first time in a while.
That reminds me. Plum. You got my ticket.
I give him his ticket, and I give him a very fancy pair of boots.
Tickets, please. Thank you.
I'm like handing over, going, hey, I've got it right here. Like, commotion causing weird carnage.
And he hands you a pair of boots, which is great because your boots don't have a. One of them is missing a lace now. So
I got like brand new boots. Well, thanks, Plum.
You have a pair of what is it? Star hanger boots.
Star hanger boots. Yep, star hanger rocket boots.
So, what were you talking to Crinkle about? I need to have a chat with him at some point.
Yeah, I worked through the information that we're looking for an old man who we think is Walter.
As soon as he says that, I would like to flashback. I go back to, like that conversation I was having like just for 2 hours. Like, who is that man consultant? I would just like to have like a brief flashback of seeing his face in the factory and then seeing the face on the stairs and then putting 2 and 2 together and getting 32.
Is 2 and 2 together? Is that in fact Walter?
So as you put 2 and 2 together, you think back, and the gentleman you saw looks like he is Walter's father. Like he didn't. I mean, like okay. there would be a strong familiar resemblance, but he doesn't look like this. I mean, he looks like he is twice the age of the man that you remember seeing in the warehouse.
That's good. I was gonna hit that old guy over the head with a candy cane. I'm gonna be honest.
One way or the other, that guy was gonna get hit. And so
that was not Walter. That was his papa. Pretty sure of it. They're similar. But what was here? It's got to be here.
So do we think he's still in the caboose, or do we think he's forward?
Yeah, what's the name you guys are talking about? Who are you looking for?
Walter Meister. Sorry, Burgermeister.
That's the name, Burgermeister. I couldn't catch his first name, but Mr. Burgermeister was over with my mom's office several times this month. You know all those editorials have been run in the paper that was very kind about the consultant work that's being done, the changes. It's just an enormous number of puff pieces, but I think he was the one placing all those puff piece ads. Whether he was Walter or someone related, like you said, a dad, I don't know. But I think the guy you described just went up ahead. He's looking for the conductor about some tall blonde guy or something. I don't know what that's.
Oh, what, the old man with a cane?
Yeah, that's the one.
I'm pretty sure that's what was old man.
Can Can we do a check in the caboose to just see if because we have two people that know his face. I don't. I just know that old people resemble him.
It's the next car up is not the caboose. The next car up is the boiler car. So it's where the
I mean, not the boiler car. I mean, just in the space we're in right now, the cabin we're in.
Right.
Can we just have a glance around to see if anyone anyone?
Oh, if he's in the room.
Man.
Oh yeah, sure. As you guys look around, you don't see anybody else who looks like him.
Okay.
He must be it, right?
Well, if his dad's here, he's bound to go see his son, right?
Follow the old man.
Follow the old man.
Makes sense to me. I look at Dur and I say, follow.
Inconspicuously follows the old man.
We shall follow the old man.
As you guys step through the door to the outside, the air hits you. It's still very cold, but nothing compared to what it's like in the center of the Arctic Circle. You also notice up ahead that you guys are starting to enter into the Candy Cane Forest, which is the last stop in the last section before you hit the outer rim and the train stops and everyone departs. Up ahead, you see the boiler car. We flash back to Plum reading through the book, and he sees this dangerous information about the fact that it is nuclear powered and it operates under nuclear power all the time. And that is again one of the reasons that this is not allowed out of the library. And one of the main things is that the intensity of the way that it's operated actually is a mix of nuclear power contained by a Christmas spirit field that is more intense than a normal nuclear reactor. And if anything should happen to it, it could easily melt all of the entirety of the Arctic ice cap in one fell swoop and one flash of energy unleashed if that Christmas field should ever be pierced. You see that room up ahead has a odd green glowing aura coming through the portal to the door before you even get there. What do you do?
Safe to? Do we see the old man anywhere, or is he just?
He is not. You've got a couple feet between cars. You've got the open air around you, and you've got a small clear window that this green light is pouring out of, and it doesn't strike you as like you guys have seen the train operate before. You've never noticed this. It certainly doesn't seem like it's a normal way for this to be operating. It's just this light pouring out at this point. You don't see the old man. But he could have easily made it through the door by this time.
I very gently, under my breath, begin going, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere. And just to see if it has some help with the atmosphere.
If you want to take a point back for Spirited, you can also too. You don't have to. But you do see that the field... the green glow lessens, and you hear curses unlike anything you have ever heard come out. Because normally when elves curse, it's like Christmas Kringle or other things like that. These are real and legitimate human curse words that you've only heard tell about while reading through naughty list manuals.
Oh, just go look at the others. Go, duh. It's time for caning.
Dur smash.
Maybe.
Dur just charges forwards and slams the door open.
I'm so sorry, but we'll keep going.
So as you sing the song and this lessons, Dur pulls out his candy cane, smashes into the door. Go ahead and make a roll for me. Go ahead and roll 2d6 Dur for carnage.
As he's doing this, sorry. I start pause. As he smashes through, I just raise my voice. Grandma got ran over by a reindeer walking home from our house Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as Santa, but as for me and Grandpa, we believe. And he starts singing. I notice the lesson effect. He starts marching forward like a cinematic action trailer. I layer in music behind him.
So we see that happening inside this room. You see a man who absolutely, as you each flash back, and we actually see this in a series of flashes. We see Walter Burgermeister in the warehouse. We see the old man getting bumped into down as he's coming down the stairs, and Buddy is headed up. We see each of you interacting with him. We flash back to your mom's newspaper office. We come forward into this moment, and we see the old man de-aging 20 years as he pulls out a small coin purse and then pulls an entire scythe and hourglass out of it. It is the year 2020, Father Time incarnate. Trying to tap into the Christmas spirit to keep the year from ending, and he is trying to drain the Christmas-powered nuclear energy into the hyperspatial sack, and using his scythe to tap into all that and drain it into the hyperspatial sack to prolong his life.
May I react?
You may react.
I click my heels together and with the sound of Plum's music, activate these star
hanger boots.
And launch myself forwards.
Absolutely. So go ahead and make a roll for that.
Is this naughty? Nice?
This sounds naughty. This is usually the moment at which things start to blend in. You really should name your motivation for what stat you want to roll, because everything within the concept of beating up the final bad guy is typically some blend of naughty and nice.
Well, as we're doing it, I would like to do a flashback.
Okay.
I would like to flashback as I'm launched for a start. I'm reaching into my back pocket, and it flashes back towards Dr. Hermes in the R&D department, and it's like me and him together in just kind of clean white suit of gas masks over us, and we're hunched over a table full of petri dishes, with tweezers and drippers, and we're working with a bunch of fine powder. And as we're flashback fade away, it kind of zooms in on a jar towards the back, which has been recently opened, full of just a light brown powder with a triangle warning sign of just an elf constantly sneezing on it. And as I'm launching forward, I'm going to reach out and try and shove a small flying saucer with a mysterious brown powder into Father Time's mouth.
Okay.
All right, so yeah. That's a 2.
That's a 2. What's your stat?
Well, if we're going to include that flashback, it'll be a 5.
Okay. You shove this cinnamon sneezing concentrate, or what?
Nutmeg, ginger,
holiday spice. You said this holiday spice.
We've got Chinese 5 spice in there.
Chinese 5 spice, which is really just all of those spices plus ginger, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Into his mouth.
Double power.
Right. And you all of a sudden cause him to sneeze deeply as he swings this scythe towards you, but it starts hacking and backing away from the nuclear engine. What happens next?
Well, while Father Time is distracted, Dur is going to whip out that candy cane baton, and then he's going to have a flashback. And the flashback that he's having is it's when Plum was teaching him how to use it, and he's intently focused. In his mind, he's remembering exactly how this thing's work and how to use it. And then while he's having this flashback about learning how to use the candy cane baton, he flashes back in the flashback where he's then back at Stealth on the Shelf training, and his commanding officer is berating him, saying, "Oh my God, you're so clumsy! What are you even doing here? How did you get this job?" Little does he know it was because Dur's dad was a senior member of the Stealth on the Shelf team. And then while he's being berated by his senior officer, that's the training officer, he then flashes back again in this flashback. And in this flashback, he is then a little kid back at high school being bullied upon by some really jacked-looking elf.
With great dimples.
And then 3 flashbacks out of this flashback, Joe is just filled with rage and he charges forwards at Father Time with his candy cane baton, switches it into the most damaging mode that he can find or that he remembers being taught, and gives Father Time a wallop.
Go ahead and make your roll. Sounds naughty.
Since I flashed back, I can move a point into naughty.
And absolutely, yes. You did an excellent flashback.
Rocking around the Christmas tree.
And then, because I'm a cryptid, right? I can.
You get an extra dice when you're doing carnage. Yes.
Yes. This seems very carnagey to me.
It does to me also.
I'm just updating my stats. 3. All right, let's roll these dice. First roll is a 3, so I've got it.
Excellent. So you land into him and you smash the hourglass out of his hand. The sand hits the ground and starts to scatter all over the place and sweeps up into the air in a miniature tornado that is now filling this entire nuclear boiler car with a whirling sandstorm. What is everybody else doing? Who's next?
So I've got my candy cane baton and definitely nimbly trying to. We've got a flying elf above with the boots. We've got a yeti storming down at him, and I'm looking to come in very low, slide up under his feet, and use the candy cane to, in my flashback of tripping the guy in front of me, get his feet all tied up and get this guy down on the ground where he's a little more manageable.
So we see this training montage in the wrestling club back in high school of you guys. It's a yeti. It's a
All the
yeti.
stuff we've been prepping
It's
for.
a yeti-lope shaped wrestling dummy that you guys are just tripping it over and over and over with candy canes. And then you flash forward. What did you roll?
Hold on, grab that one. A 4.
A 4.
My number's a 3.
Your ID number's a 3, and that's after you transferred over.
Well, I actually no. Did the narrative transferred over?
Yeah.
All
So
right,
that'd be a 4.
So yeah, so a 4 and a 2 then, or a 2 and a nice and a naughty and a 4.
Yeah. So that would make you succeed, though, right? So.
Okay.
So that's a success. So yeah, you cleave into him, his feet, hooking him with your candy cane and pulling him to the ground. As he hits the ground, all of a sudden you see this energy start to work its way back out of this small pouch that he was holding. That started out as a coin purse size, but then started to grow a little bit. And all of a sudden, energy is pouring back out of it rather than pouring into it. And it seems to be tearing away at his flesh and shrinking him at the same time. What does anybody else want to do?
Whilst I'm kind of lying there on my back, I'm amazed that what I actually planned worked in some small degree. I could see out of a corner Plum singing away, and just maybe that might help. I suppose I should join in on this somehow.
Oh yeah, you're gonna join?
I'll try and join, and then I'm going lying on my back on still powder and my gummy trees spilling out of pocket.
What are we singing though? What are we singing?
Good King Wenceslas look down on the piece of demon.
Oh, I'm sorry. We live in America. We don't know that one.
I'm bringing UK to this.
So
Go ahead.
I see this very fine mist of a sandstorm start spinning up, and I've never dealt with anything like this before. I'm not going to pretend like I'm prepared for a Father Time sandstorm, but what I do know about sand is it becomes goopy when it's wet. So I open up my bottle of eggnog. I take a little sip, and then I kind of cross my heart a little bit and just dump it out into, pour it out in the direction of this sand tornado with the hopes that it'll become goopy when it's wet.
It absolutely starts to goop. And you see that goopiness actually start to mix with this energy that's moving towards Father Time, and it's his entire body gets covered by this mix of nuclear energy, this Christmas spirit from the song you guys are singing, and this eggnog-soaked time sand, and it moves up, it rushes up, it covers his entire body, and then it washes away, and all of a sudden there is just these nondescript clothes and a cane laying on the ground in the boiler room.
That is up there with sentences I never thought I'd hear in my life.
And then all of a sudden you hear wah wah wah, and you see the shuffling of the clothes, and all of a sudden you find little baby year 2021 in the place of Father Time.
No, don't like this.
I throw my stars.
Kill it with fire. And you guys have successfully saved Christmas. Not only successfully saved next Christmas, but saved us from the year 2020. I thank you guys so much for playing Santa-Cide Squad.
Before that happens, I want to have one more flashback.
Okay, well, we do have another thing we're going to do, but if you want to have one more flashback, go ahead and do one more flashback also, too.
I just do one more to kind of like wrap this up in a very weird way because I can see the opportunity.
Because that wasn't weird enough. I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. So, as this has happened, I'm picking myself up. I'm grabbing one of the candies that's fallen out on the floor, and I go to put it in my mouth. And as I'm Buddy's biting down on it, it's like time seems to slow as it zooms in a flashback of when this eggnog was thrown on the sand. And a bunch of the sand seems to coat some of the candy on the floor. And it zooms in very closely on the sand and very close to this candy. It's just like very little miniature year 2020 figures with canes and scythes.
And it says the end, question mark.
As Buddy's putting it in his mouth, his eyes just kind of like glaze over for a second. And he looks at the sack. And he goes to grab it, but before he even holds it, the naughty figure hits 6. As Buddy turns into a small little black shape of coal in the shape of a keyring with little sour crystals on top.
Aww. But he sacrificed himself to take Father Time out for good. So one of the things I love to do is just go around and have people narrate a couple weeks after this, right? The Christmas rush is over. The North Pole's emptied out except for people who live there year round and didn't want to travel out or away, people who want to staycation instead. And we see each of your characters, except for Buddy, unless we want to retcon that also too. Or not retcon. Yeah, we see a scene of your character enjoying a well-earned vacation, having been restored on the nice list. Tell me what we see each of your characters doing to relax. What does the scene look like?
Durr returns home far in the north into his tiny little igloo and to meet his parents there and for the new year, and he squeezes himself inside this little igloo and it only just about fits the three of them, and he just sits down and helps himself to a nice New Year's meal.
Steak. Excellent. What do we see Plum doing?
Plum actually filed a application for a transfer after a series of events. He went home for a time, spent some time with his family, spent some time with the sugar knobs as well. They had a lovely post Christmas week. Really helped Kringle relax a little bit and encouraged him to retire. Said the stress probably wasn't good for him, but I want to flash forward to getting a letter in the mail from the hiring division or the redeployment division And I'm very carefully, like finger scrolling over the top line, reading Elf on the Shelf Division.
Excellent. What do we see Aranel doing?
Ernil is back at home. Got the Christmas tree, the eggnog, and the family sitting around, and he's sitting there with his notebook and penning a letter to Durr, thanking him for his heroics, apologizing for past misgivings, and just kind of going through his redemption arc. That's really what he's doing is reflecting back on all that he's learned and seen from a character like Durr, who he had disrespected many times many years ago, and just making amends.
We see your character gathering a bunch of other elves together, packing down ice blocks, slowly moving them into a circle, and then they knock on Durr's family's igloo, and they've just built a much bigger igloo outside of it that they'll all fit in comfortably.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's see what happens with Buddy. Tell us? Buddy maybe got turned into a piece of coal, maybe didn't. What do we see? What do we see with the piece of coal? What's happening with Buddy now?
So what we actually see is not long after, like, as the Artic Express has made the last couple of trips, Kringle's retired, like Durr's got a new home from area now, which is really like sweet. And then you got like Giggles was finally accepted for promotion, and one of his first jobs is to oversee this debacle in secret that's gone on for Artic Express, and try and sweep away a little bit under the table to preserve a Christmas tree and make sure it's still running. And he goes along, and as he's working through the boiler cart, finds a small piece of coal that's tucked into the corner, picks it up, and as he brushes off a coal away, it breaks away to reveal a small little gummy hourglass filled with cinnamon. It just fades to black there.
Excellent. Thank you guys again so much for playing. It was a blast to make this game, which is just, again, it's a honey heist, very simple little hack of a system that I really enjoyed. I was thinking, hey, I really want to play a heist game, but I want it to be Christmas themed, and then 24 hours later, this game is what I had. And so, it was an absolute blast. So,
yeah, thank you so much. Really loved it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for going on. If you guys have any feedback or input on the game, I would love to hear it. We're going to do a polish up. We made a couple changes over the last little bit, mostly adding roll 4d6 instead of 3d6, but a couple other pieces. Any feedback or input you guys have, we'll do a final version that we can put up, so it'll be all ready to go for next year also.
All I've got is positive things to say. It's short, quick, to the point. Anyone, whether they're experienced GM or experienced player or rookie player or not, can pick it up and literally just roll some dice. And I was taking a brief look through as well and seeing like the different things. Like, hey, you can design the scenario from dice rolls. Like the fact that I was able to do a character in less than 10 seconds, and I already knew how I was going to voice and portray it, and some of the ways just by one word description, is one of my favorite things about minimalist RPGs, and you nailed it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can add much to what Pyro just said, but yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I love the one shot that you put together for it as well, and the twist at the end with Father Time trying.
Yeah,
to...
I will say Father Time is not one of the villains that you can roll on the scenario table. It just seemed super fitting a couple days after Christmas to do a scene a couple days after Christmas, and so
one thing of that is like 2021. And I had to keep that going. That's why I was like, someone has to hit sticks, right? 2020 wins, let's be honest.
No, but it was an absolute blast playing with you guys. I really enjoyed it. If anybody's watching still, or if you guys want to spread the word, it's at ttrpg.link/Santa-Cide Squad, or you can go to our itch.io profile, which is where that'll take you. And then, love it.
The one thing I always want to do after I play is it just makes me want to run RPGs. I love being the DM more than I love doing anything else. So
I do you
sitting here. You were a fantastic DM, by the way.
Thank you.
But I also was just sitting here like entertained by you coming up with things as well, because it's one of the funnest puzzles in all of gaming. It's just like the game of coordinating.
Yeah,
So,
it was absolutely a blast. Like, very rarely do I have players who really want to get into extended dialogue, and so just it was a blast to just do. I don't remember what you named her, Elaine Sugarnog. Was an absolute blast to get to GM NPC for a little while too. Yeah, I love GMing. I love playing also too. But it is very different. Being on either side, and not in any sort of like adversarial way. One of the things I love about especially minimalist systems, they really de-stress any sort of adversarial reality with the GM. Like, it really is just like, no, you can, especially things where there's like flashbacks. No, you can tell as much of the story as I can tell. You guys made better use of flashbacks than probably anyone who's played so far. This was definitely the first flashback inside a flashback inside a flashback inception that we had. And
That was fantastic.
I couldn't
think
help myself with the whole flashback system. I just had to do something.
that was brilliant. I
Yeah, it
love
was-
that.
it was-
It was one thing I think pushes me as like I was terrified of taking it too far. Like, I didn't want to just make it too insane. And Jesse's on keep going like, all right, let's go Breaking Bad on this.
Yeah, flashbacks are kind of hard to play. Like, they're a really great system, especially for modules like this. But they're sort of hard to play with to understand as players how far you can go with them, right? Like, it's sort of hard to be like, how much permission do I have to DM my own story? Like, I kept on doing flashbacks that were kind of asking you for permission to add something to your narrative, right? Which is a weird thing, right? There's a negotiation there that's hard to strike.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, again, I think, especially when you're designing a system around a one shot, like as a GM, you don't ever have to like, oh man, it's going to ruin continuity in my world.
No, sure.
Right, and I guess my big thing would be I would worry if somebody's like, I'm just going to front load myself with super. If you were like, I'm going to flash back to being like doing push-ups and getting jacked up and having like all this extra, that'd probably be like, oh yeah, that seems not enjoyable for anybody else.
I flashed back and remembered I hadn't given anyone the tickets.
I know that was great. Like, I've got all the tickets in my pocket, and even flashing back to the same scene. Like I said, you guys did a phenomenal job with that. Which it's a lot. Like, some people, that's the thing they struggle with the most is like, can I flash back to this? And even how we GM it, like giving people some of those scenes beforehand of like, we see you do this, we see you do that, we see this is the first time I've done that, because we after the last couple of times we were like, okay, we want to start out in media res. Yeah. We want to give a couple of general scenes that people can pull back to.
And in your GM guide here, do you have options for like setting up that narrative?
No, that's one of the things we're gonna add in. Like,
that would be pretty powerful to be like, even as a GM, to be like, I can roll a D10 or a D6 and have like 3 different scenes that I can tell the characters they were at before zooming in.
Right. And so the biggest thing the GM tools have is like, what was stolen, who stole it, where are they at, a descriptor for where that place. So you might end up with like one of my favorite is there's one that's a Hallmark movie-esque. So it's like it always, like, somebody ended up describing a meet cute of 2 random characters at the South Pole military base one time when we played, because it was a Hallmark movie-esque military base, right? And so they ran into each other in the commissary and like bumped into each other, and that was their meet cute. But it was as they were just flying in on it and on their Christmas bobsled. But like for the GM, it's like what was stolen, who stole it, where the item is being held, the description for that item, and then you always have a twist, right? So it's going to explode, or the FBI are about to raid the location, or whatever it might be. And then we have a secondary set of tools for GM, because even though it's just 2 pages as far as the rules go, I like to give people some extra tools. So like secondary locations, if you need an NPC, so Freezy the Snow Dude, Dr. Hermie DDS, a reindeer hustler named Olive, Pinocchio, a very bad con man, the Tooth Fairy, Phineas Boggs, the wealthiest man in town. There's an elf culture name generator, which is where like Giggle and Kringle both came from. It's like a friendly NPC generator, and all the NPC human-ish names are drawn from Christmas movies, either protagonist or antagonist. So like we had Ebenezer Gruber when we raided the Nakatomi Plaza a couple of weeks ago. It was an absolute blast. And so, and like everybody was like, all we want to do is throw that guy off a building before the end of this. Can we do that? I was like, oh no, I've got you covered. You will absolutely have an opportunity to throw him off the top of a building before the end of this. We also had a 15-year-old RPG designer playing with us at the session who had a relative who was playing with us. And he, like, we were all cracking up about Die Hard stuff. And then we had to stop in the middle and be like, have you watched Die Hard and do you know what Die Hard is and do you know why this is all funny? And he was like, no. And we're like, okay, that's fine. Like, but anyways, yeah, the scene thing is something I absolutely want to add in. Just a little bit of like GM advice to set the scene, something that can be a couple of words to say, here are a few ideas. You know, the biggest rule in minimalist systems is like, if the rules don't tell you how it works, you just figure it out. Like, just do it. Like, just decide. Like, and people will always ask questions like, well, what about this? What about that? And like, on some groups and stuff, and it's just like, yeah, just decide. Like, I could tell you an answer, but I'd just be making it up right now also too. Like, that's no more valid than what you're going to do at your table. So, but yeah, so it was a lot of fun to make. It's been a lot of fun to run, and then we'll run it some more next year, but it'll just sit for the next, 11 months while no one cares.
That's very cool. I think I might get my my gaming group loved the Honey Heist RPG set, so this one I think is going to go down really well with them. So it's definitely something I'm going to bring up next year. If you they liked Honey Heist, the Great Soul Train Robbery is about to go to print. It's my friend Alexi's game. It's robbing a train to hell, and you're desperados, and you have it's like lover and sinner. You have a motivation and a vice. It's this really deep, like metaphorical, like narrative, but it's all same basic mechanics as Honey Heist. And like sometimes the train's being driven by greed or sloth, or sometimes it's one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, or sometimes it's, like the devil himself. Like, there's all kinds of different people who it is, but there's different cars and different things you roll for each car that give you theme and elements. And I did it during this game, but one of my favorite things about the way Alexi runs, and we built it into Beards and Beyond as a mechanic, which is the RPG I made that's also going to print this month. And that is motif building. So like when you were like, oh, I got picked on in school, and he was like, oh yeah, I grew up kind of wealthy. I was like, oh, that's great, because wealthy people picked on him. You picked on him. Now that's what they call motif building. But Alexi's is like this deeper, richer, like I had a character who was wearing all pink because they were on the Primrose Express, and the train was all in red because it was the devil. And so it was like red versus pink was one of his motifs. So the way that I used color stuff in the game would have an impact on the narrative that he drew out of that scene. We gave that a mechanic crunch in Beards and Beyond, where you get like +1 to rolls to ramp them up by adding in these bigger storytelling narratives and concepts into what you're doing. So it's a great tool just at the table, but for little one shots like this, it's also fun to just find ways to develop the world like that also too. So anyways,
it's absolutely fantastic. I think that was when you mentioned like the whole underground elf market of new gen consoles. I was like, all right, I'll have a candy smuggling ring as well. Like,
yeah. Oh no, it's been fun to see what items, because I think about 2/3 of the games we played, some innocuous confectionery substance ended up as a drug. Like it's like cinnamon or powdered sugar or whatever somebody thinks. It's just all of a sudden that was a drug also too, right? Like and so it's cinnamon too, yeah. I cinnamon I really liked it. Like it like sometimes it's been like it was like sugar or something else, but the cinnamon was a really fun one. But yeah, like I said, it was just a fun thing to just try to hit. And even as the day I posted about it, one of my friends was like, I was halfway through making this game, but I had only gotten as far as you have 2 stats, naughty and nice. You're way further than I am. Like, keep on going with it. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll have some other short RPGs. We'll be running some more. And yeah, Jesse, I'd love to run more in the paddles. So.
I mean, it'd be super fun to run more in the paddle. I'd also be happy to get like a bunch of other. I mean, I don't have as many RPG friends, but I have a lot of board game media friends.
Yeah.
And I know they would have fun playing.
Yeah.
So, like I would genuinely love to do one that was Jan, Alex, Puffendor, Sarah Shaw. You know Sarah Shaw.
Yeah, I love
right?
Sarah. Yeah.
And me, because I think first off it'd be weird. And second off, I think there's a bunch of people that would watch it.
Yeah.
Which selfishly for your channel and for my channel,
Totally.
is good.
Oh yeah, and if
so-
you guys aren't following, if you go to ttrpg.link/YouTube, which I can create an actual URL now because I broke 100. Yay! Do what?
Yeah, I was gonna say they could also search for your YouTube name. Right?
Plus one EXP, but we just got our URL, and I love the fact that I can create any URL that starts with ttrpg.link, and so I'm
That's fair. That's
so
fair.
I'm selfishly attached to that.
Genuinely, plus one. You all, I mean, their indie shot RPG like overviews are incredible.
Thank you.
Like when I watched, I don't get jealous of people very often, but when he first sent me a link to his videos and I watched, like I genuinely was like, I wish I had this. Like it's so good. And it's not just like the content, because the content's excellent, but it's like your delivery, your style, all of it is like I'm all for collaborating and figuring out how I can, celebrate what you guys are doing, and also try to do more board game or try to do more RPG stuff over on Quackalope this next year.
I'd love to collab with you on that, and I'm happy to do some of the heavy lifting so that you can do some of that review content. So, the reality is we're always going to hit different things. I've been very impressed by your less than 10-minute reviews over the course of the last month. I know you're getting there.
I am. One of the things, so Board Game Co. has been, I was for a long time the fastest growing indie board game channel in this space. Board Game Co. is now pacing us, and we're keeping about the same pace, but he's definitely gaining on us a little bit. But because one of the things he does is it takes him like an hour to do a single video, and he does a video every day, period. And with my production time, that's just been very, very hard. And it's good because we've established ourselves as some of the highest quality, most consistent production stuff, but it is also hard. So like I am lowering my production quality on something so that I can put out, or like at least lowering like the editing time and the bay, and
right,
we'll get there.
Yeah, I mean the nice thing is like this is my shot. Like I've got this camera set up all the time. Like I hit record here. I don't have any sort of latency.
I have a permanent studio. I
know you do. I'm just saying like, but I also then I after I've written the script and recorded the video, I give it to Tristan, who lives next door to me and works on me with on all my other projects, and he edits it and uploads it, and he knows how to do YouTube. And so like it's nice to like, I mean, he'll send me a draft and I'll make a couple of notes, but like it's a pretty, like I just have to worry about the content creation side. And I can also like RPGs, the biggest thing is they're hard. They're more content. Like a 2-page RPG is one thing, but sitting down with like, GURPS for the first time, which is one we're trying to crack right now, which is the most biased review I'll ever release because it was my first RPG love. It's like, I was basically like, look, I could do this in 7 minutes. I can. I don't want to because I love this RPG. So I'm going to give myself an eighth minute just because I love it so much. And it just, so I can tell you why I love it so much, not because I can't do it in 7 minutes, but it's 500 pages to crunch down into 7 minutes.
I want to reinvent the way I do flavor text driven content on the channel, because we've been known for story. Like when it comes to, so one of the cool things that you might be excited, like there are board game companies that are contracting us over the course of the next year to write and do world building for them for their flavor text. Like, so it's not RPG, but it is still like we're playing games, right? And so with Title Blades and with what is it, Anachrony that just came in, they have these lore books, like these world books that came with them. And so I want to, instead of just reading flavor text, do like 10-minute or 8-minute videos that walk you through the art, the story, the narrative in my own voice of these games that have already built so much into it behind the scenes, because no other channel is really doing that. And so alongside that, I want to start experimenting with how I can translate how I, like in my own style or voice, RPGs onto the platform in a way that lets us build that space.
Yeah.
Because I love RPGs.
I know. Yeah.
It's the first thing that got me into this entire hobby, and it's the one thing that I missed the most from this last year is not having a group to run them with.
Right.
So
well, we're doing.
But I put like 20 hours a week when I run an RPG. I put like 20 hours a week into prep for that one session. So I don't have time. I don't have the capacity to do anything but one shots right now.
Right. And that's so the part of the fun is like our model, and it's really funny when we hit up like designers with it, because I think they're always a little shocked. I'm always like, well, no, I'd like you to just come run your game for us. Like, I will read the rules, but I'm not going to get the same kind of mastery of it, and I don't have the time to do prep to run a game and do a review for you. But if you can run a game for us, I can turn around a review in the next 48 hours for you. You know,
I do the same thing with, like, I do not really read board game rule books anymore. I just
Oh,
do
we
my
know.
best to find people who can teach me, because it's time. It's like, it'll cost me 6 hours to learn a game on my own, and I'll still get things wrong. Or it'll cost me 3 hours, and it'll be fun to sit down and learn the game with either a paddle member or with the publisher itself.
Right.
So same model,
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, they're always like, oh, well, like, and the hard thing is some of them are nervous on streams, and I'm like, well, here's the two things. One, we don't actually have to live stream it. Like, I can record it, and we can decide afterwards if we want to stream it or not. Like, that's totally an option. We can also just do it, because I'm happy to get 4 friends together and just play a game. And, you know, like, but also, what can we do to make you comfortable? Because they're like, well, I don't know how to stream. I was like, oh, that's I'll run the stream, you run the game. Like, it's easy. And so, but then we basically can cut that, like, you know, we can Gary V that and also into like 3 other pieces of content, 100%. You know, like, it doesn't have to just be like, hey, we did the actual play, because the actual play in TTRPGs right now, that's all anyone is doing. Like, they're doing, or like I said, it's actual play, or it's like, here's my Dungeons and Dragons 5 best sorcerer spells list. Here's my Dungeons and Dragons, like, 3 best magic items list. Here's my, like, how to be a better GM, all of which I think are great content. But then, like, when I even approach people about TTRPG stuff, about doing reviews, like, I can tell there's this immediate, like, do people do that? And I'm like, no, and the answer is no. Like, they don't currently. They don't do review content, which is dumb. Because if someone's going to watch the 3-hour actual play of your game, they've already decided to buy that game. They already like that game, or they like actual play. Like, I listen to One Shot Network's RPG stuff every single week, and I discover a lot of games through that I really, really like, and I get excited about. That's absolutely a way people learn about games. But the reality is, like, our actual plays get maybe, and, you know, we're a small channel, but they get maybe 23 views. Like, our review games, the lowest count on that is 3 times that, you know, so like, they're getting 3 times. Some of them are 6 to 7 times that. So, you know, like, it's one of those things where people are way easier for me to sit down and watch a video for 7 minutes and be like, I like this system, I want this system, rather than I had to sit down for 2 hours or 4 hours and listen to you play a game and still not know if I like this system or if I just like the people who played this game that I just listened to. And so
I need to bring back I did a test run of a solo game where the entire time I basically played RPG by myself while playing the mechanics of the game. I did it with what was it? It was Final Girl. So it was just me narrating the gameplay experience. I don't know. I just love what y'all are doing. I'm so excited for what y'all are doing.
Thank you.
You know, so
I'm thrilled too. It's brand new. My wife and I were sitting up there talking. We're looking at our finances for the next year, and it's a new project. It's time. Like, we have another business, like, we're growing +1, and most of that money will go to hiring staff. Like, we want to bring Tristan on as staff. Yeah, there you go. That beard balm. Have you been using it?
I was gonna pull one out during this session, but I just didn't find a good. I didn't think of a good opportunity.
I almost had them steal Santa's.
Oh, yeah, by the way,
I almost had them steal Santa's beard because I figured it would be a good, fun, like, product. I did not, though.
I have genuinely been using them.
Good.
My biggest complaint is they leave oil on my hands, so I have to use them when I'm ready to wipe the oil off.
Yeah.
Which is not a big complaint. It's just
Right.
my biggest complaint. And I don't know if there's not a better way to apply it though, right? Like, that doesn't put oil on your hands.
I mean, only if you have somebody else's hands to apply them. And so
I assumed that was the case, but
sometimes, I mean, you could try using less. That's an option. Like, so, I mean, yeah, no, you get a little bit. Like, so typically, if I didn't take a shower, I'm like, I rinse out my beard in this. I'm always at the sink. I rinse out my beard at the sink. I put a little bit on. Right, and then I style, and then or, you know, which is just like this sometimes.
So I'm not to that point where it is a good beard yet. It's just a beard.
Right.
I'll tell you what these have been really good for is, like, it gets itchy every now and then.
Right.
Just dry it out and stuff. And these have, like, solved that. Right.
Right.
So, like, if
that's
and do this and just get it in there.
Yeah.
It just feels so much more comfortable.
That's we'll probably do bandanas for that brand pretty soon, and it's specifically for that. So if you're doing the application on the go, you can have something to just be like, this is my good smelling huff rag that I, like, put on my beard balm. I wipe my hands off. You know.
Oh, interesting.
Uh,
No, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about having a beard. So, you know,
It's going well
a
so
whole
far.
It's a whole new experiment. I
So-
am planning to do. What I've decided I want to do is I have like 6 or 7 little indie RPGs that I've been reading through just because I'd love to do them, but I haven't had the time. So I want to do like a little preview of all 3 of those combined with. So I want to do like RPGs in Beard Balm or something like that as
Sure.
a video. So that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm figuring out. But I've used it multiple times as a joke, as like you know, I think they're hilarious because I'm just like,
Thanks.
do I seem more charismatic?
To you. So for those of you watching who may not know, or just here with us who may not know, they're all stat-based beard bombs. So like it's all the classic tabletop role-playing stats from no particular RPG system, of course.
Really picks them up.
But we basically
like months ago they still need to pick them up.
we created an aroma that is inspired by that stat, and so like
They genuinely smell delicious.
I'm trying to match like aromas to each like
Oh no! Listen,
general
listen.
stat,
It's-
like
Strength, an empowering mix of pine, cedar, and mint. Con,
Yeah.
a vital mixture of blood orange, spice, and hops.
okay, yeah.
Dexterity, unscented but woven with moonlight and shadow. Initiative, a stimulating compound of coffee, hoe wood, and vanilla.
I
wisdom.
want that one.
it's
An
good.
uploading emollient of frankincense, myrrh, and smoke. And
like
charisma,
that.
a seductive salve of tobacco, amber, and cloves. Like the flavors make sense with the. I think they do.
Yeah. Well, somebody was like, "Why didn't you use musk?" And I was like, "Well, because I don't like the idea of harming animals to get an aroma that I like. Because I do love the way musk smells, but like we use essential oils for everything. Like it's all natural. It's not we're not squeezing a ferret's glands to get anything. But
I mean, the problem is really their own fault. Those ferrets are so darn squeezable.
they didn't smell so good and look so squeezable. But dude, if you want, are you coming up to DC this month?
I don't know if I'm coming. Why?
Because we had talked about you.
come up to DC?
No, we had talked about next time you go up to DC, you may be coming up to Philly also too.
Oh, sure. No, I'm not sure if I will be up there in January.
Okay.
I will likely be up there at some point over the next like 2 months or so.
Right.
Right now, my travel plans is next week I'm going to Universal, both for my birthday and because Sarah Shaw is going to be down there helping her sister move into college. So we're going to go see the
Cool.
Hogwarts Wizarding World.
Fun.
So then from there, I'm going to spend at least a week and a half or so working from home, kind of isolating because I'll be around more people.
Yeah.
And then travel. So travel would either be early Feb or end of January, depending on James' plans and weather.
Yeah, I'll stay up with you on it. I'd love to have you swing by whenever you're headed up this way. We can take a couple days, play some games, do some content.
I'm gonna hit the road. I think between now and April, when I hit the road full time, I move into my 2008 Kia Rio. I know I'm gonna do a video where it's like, because everyone does these van prep videos where they like buy and renovate a van for like living in when they travel the country. I'm just gonna do how I prepped my 2008 Kia Rio for.
There was a video recently, and I don't remember what massive aggregation channel it was on, about a lady who just decided, like a young woman, who was just like, my biggest cost is rent, and I don't need to have an apartment, and I'm just gonna live in my car. And it was how she does it every single like day, you know, like, and she's like, I don't have to go to work. Like I can work from wherever. So here's what I do. Like now that, you know, so if she's in the middle of quarantine.
It can absolutely work if you're weird.
Yeah.
You know,
Here in London, one of the common things that university students do is instead of living in their car, they live in a canal boat.
nice.
Oh, that's cool.
kinda
Yeah.
cool.
Then in Seattle, that was pretty common also too. So,
Yeah, I should. So I should be able. I want to do 2 or 3 practice runs basically
Yeah.
of content on the road before I start the actual road trip thing. My plan is to do Arizona and Texas for one sprint because there's
So
2 other
jealous.
people I want to see there. And then the next plan is, and then the other sprint plan is DC and Philly.
Cool.
To visit you and then connect with Jan and my gaming group there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, let me know. I mean, whenever it is, we'll figure out some fun stuff to do during that time.
If you keep poking me about it, it'll.
No, I
become
will.
More
Yeah.
and more close to
Yeah.
happening.
No, you told me.
I know.
You told me that originally when you told me.
I do not mind people poking.
Yeah. So, but no, and we can talk more about some RPG stuff because like I said, I would love to draft and to do some collabs with you. For obvious reasons, but also just because I super enjoy everything you're doing. I also have to know. So is the duck thing a Zay Frank homage?
Hey, no.
It's just happenstance.
Subconsciously,
Maybe.
I mean, it wasn't until I was. Here's the weird thing. It wasn't until I was rewatching Zay Frank that I noticed, like.
That was the thing. I saw all the ducks and I was like, is this a thing for Jesse?
No, genuinely, I was watching his thing and I was like, oh yeah, his stamp. Oh yeah, the background of his set. Oh yeah, there's a rubber duck. And I'm like, interest. Like no, it's not.
That's
It's
no.
not.
I totally no. That's fine. I was just. It was 100.
Ways, I suppose it is.
It was like 2 weeks ago when I was watching something and I was like, wait, like that's. So.
Quackalope was fully independent of that, and the rubber ducks kind of grew on their own, just because I bought them to add horns to, and then like just experimenting, they've grown into a thing.
Yeah.
But
my beard grew on its own also too, and it's become a distinguishing characteristic.
Mine's getting there. But it's interesting because like that invocation to beginnings video has literally been the foundation for my YouTube experience, and it has been like even before I started talking about it more publicly. Like I have historical videos that are like basically like on beginnings and invocations.
I went back and watched your And so I remember, like I said, I remember being on retreats and showing that to like other youth ministers who were struggling and being like, dude, watch this. Like, this is killer. I mean, I showed one of my teammates his TED talk, and I've used the piece where he does the choir of voices for that girl, like
you're okay.
Yeah. I've used that
You'll be fine.
Talking about the power of community in so many different things, and even watching it like in the middle of all this stuff.
He's the first person to invent community,
right? And tell
this space.
And do you guys know? Like, are you guys following out of this? Like, Jesse, do you guys know who Say is? Do you watch his videos? Have you? No, it's cool. All right.
I've heard of Say from Jesse.
Yeah. Right. Anyways, this guy. He was doing video blogging before YouTube existed. Like he did a daily video blog before. I mean, like he was ruining his own like upload and download costs on things by experiencing just random success from dumb internet stuff that he was doing, and he
became like a foundational member of BuzzFeed.
Right.
So like his knowledge around both clickbait to some degree, but his knowledge around community building and design and what gains people's interest and what is topical and like all of that. Like he is the grandfather of social media internet when it comes to community.
Yeah. And so and it's like people will look at the stuff he does, like, so old me, young me. So he was the first one to really like pilot the concept of, hey, here's a picture of you when you were little. Now go take a picture of you in the same position when you were old. And everybody's like, well, that's just a meme now. And I was like, right. But 15 years ago, it wasn't. Like, it was Zay Frank being like, wouldn't this be funny if people like did this and then posted them on the internet? Like, that'd be awesome. Like, let's do it. Earth Sandwich is a challenge to get people to try to simultaneously like lay two pieces of bread perfectly opposite from each other on the globe, turning the earth into a giant sandwich. And there was no, other than saying people should do that, there was no coordination, there was no communication, there was no whatever.
Hundreds of voices together to sing a song that he then composed into like, and it's just this powerful moment of seeing like all these separate video feeds coming together for the first time that the internet had ever seen it, to sing about how like you can get through hard shit.
Right.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah. And so, like I said, he's done so much stuff, and it's really hard because like now it's like he does the animal videos and like, which I still like are hilarious, but I'm just like,
it's not.
Yeah.
He doesn't do what he used to do, but
right.
He does it behind the scenes and
Oh no, he's still doing all the same things. I'm just saying, like, I do miss that content, but that content takes a lot more emotional energy than what he's currently cranking out, and I think he's probably having a lot more influence doing what he's doing. So there's no like like why not? Like no, I know why not. Like I
professionally stepped. It's that phrase at the end of the invocation to beginnings things where it's like, if it is, let this not be a pathway towards something, but if it is, let's be fascinated by the step. And it's like, for a period of his life, he was fascinated by that, and now he's just he's onto something else and fascinated by whatever he is doing now. So
So anyways, no, it was fun to discover that common like I said, there's such a small like I mean, it's not insignificant, but there's like every once in a while I'll meet people who I'm like, oh yeah, I really like this guy Dave Frank, and they're like, oh my gosh, I love him also, and then we're like spend the next however many hours just like talking about stuff and how and like wherever we were at when he dropped those videos and or we discovered him.
On my secondary or on my personal channel, I'm working on. That's gonna be the first video that I do a reflection video on, or like a response video to. So I've watched it like 3 or 4 times over the last week, trying to figure out what hooked me when I was like 19 or 18 and first watched that. And so like it's been cool to try to like re-explore why did this thing sit with me for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, it's so
yeah.
good. It was good at ttrpg.link/YouTube.
No, really. So you have the whole thing recorded, right?
Yeah.
I mean I will certainly push it out to all my Patreon members. If you